We are live, and we're back. Nathan, this is important. This is big. This is big. This is wow. This is now. This is how did we get this show? How did we get this fantastic show?
I'll tell you, Evan. You know how we got it? Do you know how we got it?
Punch it.
And that's how we got. I don't know.
We went to hyperspace. That's how we got it. Okay, cool. We found it in hyperspace. We found it in the one place from Solo.
We got sick in hyperspace.
Yes, we did.
But this is episode number 117.
Lucky number 117. You know what that means?
I play the intro again.
Yeah, sure. No. Han, turn it off. Turn it off. 117.
No.
This is crazy. This is we're finally discussing the Acolyte season 1 finale, not the series finale. finale. And this is
Voldemort. Before you lived,
come to die.
It's always dying now. It's the fucking the menu. Is anyone still talking about the menu?
They should. It's a good movie.
It is.
It's a good movie. But fuck it. Leslie Headland has granted us a beautiful finale. I just finished rewatching it, and Nathan, I said this on Twitter. I'll say it again here, live on air, 2 minutes, 4 seconds, and counting. This finale is the best finale of any Disney Plus series. Mike drop.
I'm not gonna hold you. You're correct.
I think the only competition, Willow and Andor are the only competition for me. Yeah, pretty much Willow and Andor. Before this, it was Willow. I think now I go the Acolyte season 1, Willow, and then Andor. While I love Andor finale, it summed up Andor's arc from into a rebel. His arc into a rebel perfectly. I think it wasn't like it wasn't the show's best episode, my favorite episode from the show, which again hard because every episode was great. But like as emotionally gratifying and insane, like beautiful moments in multitude, I got that more in Acolyte than in Andor, even though of course the Andor riot sequence is unforgettable. But then Willow for me was just also like, wow, what is this show? It's incredible. So still need Willow season 2. But I'm just so happy that like everything that I was hoping for tragically happened in this finale, which is equal parts romantic, beautiful, but also haunting, sad, tragic, and sets up season 2 in such a potentially fantastic, limitless way. Like this is so it's up in the air how many different directions this show can go. Leading into season 2, and I'm just so thankful for Leslie. There were so many times I'm watching this finale, Nathan, where I'm just screaming at my TV like, "What is happening? What is this show? Yes, no, oh my, OMG!" Like I was an emotional wreck, roller coaster, going through this. I had so much fun.
I agree, man. I knew when some hands were being held that Evan was gonna flip out.
I flipped. I literally did a backflip. I jumped on my neck. No.
I fucking broke my back.
Yeah. I had to go to a chiropractor, guys. No.
You went to the hospital and then you were like, "Come here." Fuck.
Yeah.
Waking up like Finn.
They were like, "Is this from the Acolyte hand holding sequence?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Okay, yeah, put him in line. Yeah, he's not the only one." But yeah,
calls.
Like Leslie Headland did this to us. But yeah, wow, it was just romantic. It was swooning. I can't wait to get into all the different character journeys and how they wrapped up in the season as a whole, and how I feel about that as well. So much to say.
We're out of time.
Oh shit! At least now I found my app. That's great. Well, it was a joke. But yeah, this has been a fun week so far. I haven't been able to fully dive into, like, usually by this time I've listened to at least 2 to 3 Acolyte podcasts by now. But because Big Brother 26 is back and because it's cracked, this cast is crazy. There was an argument literally at 11 a.m., 8 a.m. their time. It was an argument in the main kitchen. This one lady is going off on this kid, and I'm just laughing profusely. It was a 9-minute just yelling sequence. It was great. That's why we watched Big Brother. That's why I love it. The crazy ass show. But anyways, I say that to say because I haven't been able to dive into a lot of the interviews either, like the podcast or Leslie's interviews. So I put some pages on the screen, not right now, but like for later to watch. But in general, Nathan, what were your thoughts about this finale and stuff like that? Sad.
I'm sad. Well, sad. I did go back to
everything was great.
2 hyperspaces ago where we had a theory on the ending, and we're like, timestamp it, and I went to the timestamp and I was like, oh, that's not right. That didn't happen.
What did we say? Oh no.
Basically we're like, oh, could you imagine if Soul has to hold off Kymir's master, but like has Osha go off with Kymir because he knows she'll be safe.
Yeah. That was our. Either way, we had Soul dying. So what? We're 50%.
That's not 50.
Yeah, okay, fine. 25.
That's a wild card. That's not.
That's a wild card.
That's a 3.
3. Okay, I'm being generous.
That's the Joker. You don't play with that.
I figured 2 things: Soul would die, and we'll see Kymir's master. Didn't know there'd be in 2 different scenes. I had it all colliding in the finale in a way where like Soul dies from Kymir's master. Because again, Soul, the more leading up to this finale, the more and more I was like, Soul has to die. He has knowledge of Kymir, knowledge of the Sith. It'll be a big loose end if he survived somehow. Unless, again, the only way it would be plausible for Soul not to go back and be like, yeah, this guy I saw that killed all these people was actually the Sith. Whether or not they believed him, he would still be able to state it verbally to them. And the only reason that wouldn't happen is if he, like we predicted, he'd go away. And, he resigned being a Jedi, like I said, has happened in the past. But regardless, that did not happen. And Soul did tragically die. And he did not bring Osha's lightsaber. But Osha went home with the lightsaber, not the one she was expecting.
And tragically, it's Soul's.
Which is greatly tragic. This isn't the first time we've seen like a Jedi or somebody carry home their master's saber. Trying to think of a major instance where somebody uses their dead master's saber, but now I'm forgetting. But I feel like it happens all the time.
I mean, Obi-Wan used Qui-Gon's to strike down Maul.
True. Yeah. I feel like there's been one where he like kept it. Is Cal's own lightsaber, right? He doesn't use his master's.
Cal is his master's, yeah.
Cal uses his master's lightsaber?
I believe so, right? It's
maybe.
I don't think it's his original saber.
Me neither.
I know it's at least like it's his master's emitter, right?
And then Ezra didn't use Kanan's lightsaber. No, I think he's.
But he does have Kanan's emitter.
He does have Kanan's. Yeah. So it's but yeah. I love the motif, and we'll get into that and what it means, everything like that. I'm so happy and glad about everything that happened with Osha's arc as well. I've always said that she's been a very passive character this season for justifiable reasons. That was her journey to get out of her shell. And the fact that she got to make a choice this season finale was great. May's journey ended tragically but beautifully. Kymir was a different person this finale, and I liked it. And it's funny, I'm watching it and I'm like, this is a different Kymir. And then Leslie goes into all like the different episodes, but what phase of a villain Kymir is. And he was very much like, as she says here, like, the buffoon, early Kymir, the predator, episode 4 and 5 Kymir, and then like the mentor-ish character in episode 6. And then he comes to episode 8 and he's kind of like the romantic interest, the romantic lead. A lot of, while still being the predator for Soul's character, at least, not for Osha. But let's get into it because there's a lot to dive into from the very beginning. A lot of notes, as people might understand. This is the most notes I think I've written for an episode.
Oh no.
It's either that or episode 6. I don't know. It was a lot. But I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to like a lot of timestamps and be like where we'll be in the episode. And I put a lot of questions on like 2 pages, but I'll save those questions for when it's relevant or the end. We'll see. But it starts off with Manny Jacinto played. I keep saying Manny. Chimere. Starting this whole conversation off with the prediction for next season. I don't know why I'm doing that, but in my notes I'm writing like Chimere does this, Chimere does this, Chimere does that. How early in season 2 are we going to learn Chimere's real name? Is it just Chimere, or did he give the Jedi his real name? Because like he used to be a Padawan from Vernestra a long time ago. Leslie said, "Remember the term a long time ago." Somehow he's lived longer. That could have been because of Plagueis, also dealing with like healing, regeneration, prolonging his life.
Could be 15 years.
It could be 15 years. But if I feel like if he says Chimere, and 15 years ago somebody left named Chimere, I'm pretty sure people would be like, "Oh, like this is."
Is he using that name when he's like the Fool?
Is he not? I forget. He says that to May.
May. We don't really see him speaking to many other people. I guess they talked to. Did the Jedi get his name?
I have to rewatch episode 3. I thought they did. Maybe they didn't. But if it was 15 years ago, again, still, Soul would still most Jedi would recognize him if it's 15 years ago. 15 years ago, if somebody left the Order and Soul was a Jedi Master and it's Vernestra's Padawan, her pupil, they're close. Rebecca, the person who plays Vernestra, said her and Soul had like very much a big, major, like beyond colleagues. They were very bonded as Jedi Masters, and that's why the decision was so harmful for her at the end of this episode. But if that was truly the case, Soul would have recognized Chimere, which also lends credence to Soul being like, "How did I not know who that was?" But he still, to the end of the show, does not know that that's Vernestra's Padawan. Again, somebody he's super close with. So it's like, how long ago did this happen? And is Chimere's real name or not? It's kind of like the whole Baby Yoda and, finally learning Baby Yoda's real name halfway through season 2 of Mandalorian. So I'm curious, if that's the case, what's that going to do with the ship demographics? Or, is Osha Mir going to have to change to Osha something else? What's his name? Is Darth Kaitis or something? Osha this. I don't know.
My stupid ass would like write on AO3. It was like Osha's first year and Chimere's last year, and they're passing each other in the hallway, don't know each other.
You should write something. There's currently, I think, like over 100, over 200 right now. There's a lot. It has exploded since episode 6 and episode. Well, it started with episode 2, and then it started with episode 4, and then 5, and then 6, and then 8, and it's like it's exploded.
Episode 6 came out, and it was like. Oh, shit.
Yeah, episode 6 was the biggest jump. That's for sure. That's for sure. I think episode 5. When he put the blanket over her, people were like, "Ding, ding, 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 ding! We found our winner." But yeah,
the bath heaven.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, I love a good like high school, like or college alternative universe AU fic. It's fun. Anyways, Chimere is like, he sees Osha under the mask. My previous thought was like Osha would be able to understand what May witnessed, what May would be told via Soul via the mask. Didn't come to pass, but I like how she found out. I like that they didn't listen to my dumbass idea. It would have been cool, but it would have sped things up in the finale. But I like how the finale took its time. It is the longest episode of the season. But Chimere chuckles at Osha in a mask. And I like how he peers over at her. He's like laughing because it kind of looks very awkward. But then she immediately, her head tilts like some exorcist possessive trance. And this was insane. His eyes go fully black. He instantly goes into like the full dark Torben-esque sequence that we saw in episode 7. And this was wild. Like, what was your thoughts seeing this for the first time?
I mean, I was really compelled. I was really taken aback. But something that is quite compelling is I think he was able to push through it, right?
I'm with you, man. That's probably the most compelling part. You know, Torben fell victim to it because Torben's a Padawan, but this is Osha using like unleashed force energy, like uncapped energy at him, and he's able to push through it. That's some powerful stuff right there. This guy is very powerful, very smart, but he was also very devoted. You know, you could see the care that he felt, like not just like this is a pupil. Again, this is the romantic aspects like seeping in so early.
He has a line a little later. It's like basically like says Dosha, like, did any part of me make it seem like I'm like I care? And it's like, yeah, yeah, it did. Dosha's like, yeah.
yeah. He asked her like, am I fair? He's like, yeah, you're fair. You care. Like,
you're right there.
You're right there. He's like, why are you rhyming? But yeah, like he totally cares in this moment. Literally gets down on his knees. It was such a awesome, intense visual, and to start the episode with that image, I was just like, oh wow, we're this finale is gonna really go crazy. I instantly knew. I'm like, oh, what's Osha gonna do? Because if she's doing this with the helmet on, what's her like? You know, what kind of force power are we gonna be in for later in the episode? And we saw something I didn't expect, but it was great. So yeah, you can just tell again the intimacy that Manny is showcasing via Chimera in this scene when he finally takes her helmet off. It was insane, and she says how she saw May, vision of the future. He said he saw May holding a lightsaber, but not using it, and you know, going against Soul. And what I loved about this sequence is very similar to the Last Jedi, when Rey and Kylo get that Force vision, that Force bond, and they both see similar but different things. Like, you know, like when they're riding the elevator, he's like, I know what you're going to do. And she's like, are we on the same wavelength here? Like, she sees Ben, he sees her, he sees himself on the throne with her, and then she sees like him helping her. Both come to pass in different ways. But what was funny is that like I see May holding a lightsaber, and he's like, she's killing him without a weapon. And you see Chimera's like brain like light up, his mind just light up, like maybe there is a chance that I was wrong about May. Maybe she still has it in her to complete her final lesson. I have to go find her, and I have to witness that. I have to witness that moment of her killing Soul. Like that's what I'm thinking.
Now I wonder, Evan. Did Osha see May? Or did she see herself?
She definitely saw herself. She definitely saw herself. But you know, she's confused with May. They're legit twins. They share blood cells. So it's even more plausible that she saw herself. Even though we did see May at the end of the episode hold a lightsaber, facing off against Soul, and not using it, all, you know, coming to pass. But yeah, but Osha also said that she sees May killing Soul. So holding a lightsaber but not using it, but also killing Soul. So how are all those things happening? Because it's you, Osha. It's you. She doesn't know. And that's what creates the inner tragedy. That's what sparks the inner tragedy so early in this episode. And that was insane for me. Because did part of you think when you heard that this could be Osha who's actually doing this?
No. I think I got thrown off of any like real hardened theorizing when Chimera said or you know, Chimera was like saying like yeah, it's the future, but you know, the future can be changed, you know. I think at that point I was like, yeah, okay, so there's potential of something going down, but also anything could happen because, you know, the future isn't truly set. Days of Future Past.
Exactly. Go watch our Days of Future Past commentary. We did a great job there. That was a fun movie. Pretty good. And I'm with you. I like the idea that we're going into this finale with even more possibilities, potential, unpredictability. Even after this first scene, where it's like, okay, what really went down? Is Soul really going to die? Is this going to happen? But I was worried for Soul instantly when I heard that. I'm like, if it's not May, I think somebody is killing Soul. So that was crazy. And then I like it. It's like, see who gets there first. Because again, Osha says this, and while Chimera stands up, is like ready to leave. Because again, he has a spark. He has that idea. Maybe I could get May to be my apprentice again. That's my idea. Even though he does harbor feelings for Osha in this moment, and thus far, again, what we saw in episode 6, there is intimacy there. I think he also understands that, like, maybe I was wrong about May. Maybe let me see if I can bring May as well. Maybe at this point, he's also thinking maybe I could bring May and Osha. That would have been fascinating. But of course, we know that's not happening.
For like 10 seconds, I was like, damn, this is a fun trio. Osha, May, and Chimera. Let's go.
Yeah,
I'm ready
let's
for
do
the
this.
next adventures. And then the tree scene.
Yeah, and then oh man. But yeah, and then Osha on the other hand was like, we can stop her. And Chimera stops. He's like, I wasn't planning on stopping her.
At a point, he's like, kind of like announces a race. It's like,
yeah,
you get to her first.
Yeah, let's see who gets there first. He's like, how are you going to get there? It's like, he's like, it's my ship. So it's like, we'll both ride the same ship, just see who gets there first. What can possibly go wrong? That's very funny. So yeah, then we go back to Soul, who has May still tied up, and he still plans on contacting Vernestra. May asks, where are they? And he says, we are above Brendock, where it all began. I think we predicted this. I think either unknown planet or going to Brendock. I figured they would go back to, like, scene of the crime. The person who does it always goes back to the scene of the crime. Soul's guilt coming to roost, but maybe not, because one of the more shocking elements of this episode, dude, was Soul still being Soul. Like, he wasn't as apologetic as I thought he would be. In episode, he doubled down. In episode 1 through 4, we saw him as like this wise mentor who was harboring a secret. In episode 7, we finally learned what the secret is, and we talked about it. We were like, this Soul seems different from what we know. More confused, more temperamental, more like off the seat of his pants. And while he does do something rash, killing Mother Anastasia is rash, dumb, wrong, he doubles down on, like, I'm sorry I killed your mother, but I was doing the right thing. I was trying to save you both, he says. He says, while the Covenant attack was an accident, you still started the fire, May, and it was right for us to intervene. I'm like, wow. So he's pinning the fire on May, which was true, yes. But it's like, that all was caused because you guys chose to intervene. May never starts that fire if the Jedi never get involved in the first place. Twice they invade the Covenant area. So he's still not apologetic, which is setting up Soul to become not only a sad loss in the future, but a tragic character who wasn't able to admit his own flaws until it was far too late, which was just insane to me. I didn't see that coming, but the more he was unapologetic, the more I was like, okay. Again, after the Osha tease with the vision, him being unapologetic, I'm like, okay, this is him. This is his final episode. And the breadcrumbs were crumbing as he gets to Brendock here. But yeah, that was a bit shocking to me. Like, he just continued being unapologetic. So yeah, he says, I regret not saving you both, not being able to save you both. But in this, the first time here where he doubles down saying, but May, you're not sisters. You're, what did he say here? Yeah, he said, you're not twins and you're not sisters. You guys were created by something much more important, basically, than you know. He doesn't get to finish because May end up leaving. But this part, he says it again when he's on Brendock to May and Osha. And I'm like, for me, this is dehumanizing them by saying, you're like, your sisterly bond with your sister is not real. There's something bigger at hand here. I'm like, what are you trying to achieve by telling her this? Osha's not your sister. You guys were created. Like, what do you want her to be like? Oh, you're like, oh, Soul, thank you for telling me I'm not like. I'm not a sister to my own sister in OSHA. Like,
Yeah.
what does he hope to achieve here by telling them this? It was pretty shocking to me.
I'm not sure if he's just kind of doubling down on a sense of purpose, just so kind of like in a sense of, if I go back to Brendock with this information and I really like kind of fulfill what we were trying to do originally and like have the proof of this virgins, maybe all of it will be worth it. Maybe it will somehow absolve me of these crimes.
Yeah, for some reason, or not for some reason, I'm about to explain it, but like Soul, we learned, was going through the motions of what he did, the tragedy, much better than Kelnaka, Torben, and maybe even Indara as well. And we thought Indara, she left to go, be a Jedi in the outskirts somewhere. Kelnaka left completely into the wilderness on Kofar, and Torben did the Barash vow. Soul really bottled it up, kept it inside of him. And when Chimera asked him, "What did you do with that darkness?" He does answer. He doesn't. He's not able to answer. But what was so interesting here is that, like, you're right. This becomes his solution. This becomes his shining light. If I can just bring these twins to the council, show why my actions were so important. Obviously, it's out of love for OSHA, but also by bringing OSHA and the twins together again with the Jedi that can prove they're the virgins, that that he was doing this for a noble cause, that word of noble. That's what he used in episode 7 in the flashback, and that's what he still was trying to maybe use here. This was all for a noble cause. A lot of tragedy happened. I can fix it. And this might be a way to explain to OSHA by reuniting her with her sister and being like, hey, this was for a noble cause because, and then he goes on to admit what he did. But that's not what happened. That's what probably he wanted to happen in a perfect world. He can get OSHA, save OSHA, get May, go Jedi Council, admit his wrong, but also say, I did this because it was for a noble mission, and here's my proof. But of course, that's not what happened. So, but it's very much Professor X, right? It's his hubris. Professor X, spoilers for Dark Phoenix or X-Men Last Stand, whichever one you want.
This is really what we're doing.
but like blocking Jean Grey's memory and refusing to tell her. Same thing Soul is doing here, refusing to tell OSHA for no reason other than his own, for no protection other than his own, really. No matter what he says, really. He could say like, "Oh, I was trying to protect you." You're protecting yourself from the blame of obviously doing something you weren't supposed to be doing. But then what I like here is that May shocks him with her pip and heads to the escape ship. And I kind of compare, like, for the viewers, kind of like the Ghost and the Phantom in Rebels, where they use the Phantom as kind of like their escape ship out of the Ghost. Most major ships have this. But what I like here is this is the first instance of Pip working for May. This will happen 2 times, including this one, 2 or 3 times where she references Pip. But what I like here is that we are getting indeed the role reversal of OSHA going to the dark side, May going to the light side with the Jedi. Will May become a Jedi? We'll have to wait and see. But May using Pip here in this instance was really cool. She's like she uses Pip to shock Soul, and then she uses Pip later on, and it's like, okay, Pip is really working for May now. Pip has become May's droid, her new familiar. Like, in fantasy when, characters use like dogs, cats, whatever, they're familiars to be their allies. And Pip has become familiar for May, which is really cool in her development. And it was kind of funny because it kind of elevates episode 6 as well, when Soul was like, back then, you show a lot of love for your droid Pip, and her faking as OSHA was like, yeah, I show a lot of love for other people as well. But is this the start of May showing love for Pip and then other people in season 2? May has not had a lot of love for people outside of OSHA. But could May finally form more connections outside of OSHA, who she has forgotten by the end of this episode, with maybe Vernestra? That'd be very exciting, very interesting. I got a lot of theories about that at the end of this episode. But yeah, May's arc in general has just been very tragic and cool. And I like where things are going. She says, "See you in hell, Jedi." As she leaves, and Nathan, I thought this kind of broke canon for me. There's no hell in Star Wars. I don't remember anybody ever saying that. So I think Leslie doesn't really understand Star Wars. What do you think? Sarcasm.
I didn't even think, dude. I didn't even think this was Discord because it hadn't actually hit my timeline. What hit my timeline was people defending it already. Which is funny. I think maybe for like a brief second, I could see like one or two grifters being like, "Hell in Star Wars, huh?" But all in all, it's like, it washed over me. I was like, that's fine because that's the first two movies.
I'll see you in hell, Han Solo, Empire Strikes Back. Verbatim. Verbatim the line. There's also another Empire Strikes Back reference at the end of the show. But also what I liked was what's it called? People complain about Last Jedi. I think when the door gets shut, Poe says something like "damn" or like, I don't think he says "fuck," but he says "damn," like there's no way out or something like that. I remember somebody being like,
"Well, people say damn."
Say damn. I'm like,
they say "damn" in A New Hope.
Yeah, it's like they say "damn," hell. It's like they don't say like "fuck me," but like
son of a bitch.
That was in Andor season 2.
It was surprising when I was watching Andor and someone said shit, and I was like, they say shit?
No, did they say that? Oh, was that during the I think episode 3, episode 9? You said
something or other. I don't know which episode, but they definitely said it, and I was like, oh shit.
Right. Yeah, cool. So yeah, it's just that people were making fun of that line, but I really liked it. See you in hell, Jedi. I love a lot of the May scenes. For some reason, people were critiquing May, and I usually see a lot more critiques about Osha than May. But May had such a consistently. One of the major complaints about this season I've seen from people is that like inconsistent character motivations. But I think people are just like copying and pasting what other people are saying without really thinking about the show or watching the show, which not shocking. But I'm like, most of the character motivations have been pretty dang, like from A to B to C, pretty consistent. Nothing has been pretty shocking to me, especially May. Her consistent arc is love of Osha, and that has never changed since episode 2.
Yeah, very clear.
Yeah, so Sol barges into the asteroid field, and what I liked about this, when May was kind of riding in the escape ship, she's like, "There's no way he'll follow me because he can't fit through." Something along those lines. But Sol barges his way. He's like, "Full speed ahead."
Which, by the way, beautiful set piece.
Stunning. I was like, "Wow, this looks really beautiful, really well done." ILM just perfect, just great. I think it's ILM. I'm not sure.
Yeah, ILM is the Star Wars company.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Skywalker Sounds, Skywalker Ranch.
I thought it was Pixar for a sec. I couldn't tell.
Pixar, originally Apple. Go figure.
Oh boy. I said need to watch the ILM doc that was teased to us in 2022.
I do too. Cause I remember like one of the thumbnails was like fucking E.T. and Elliot on a bike, but it was a miniature, and I was like, I need to see this.
I know, right? But yeah, he barges through. May earlier said like, "There's no way he would. He can't fit." But by symbolically doing this, I instantly just thought like, "Oh, it's a simple showcase through this awesome action sequence, chase sequence, that Sol is pushing himself to fit where he doesn't belong." This happens with the past, where he tried to like invade their homes because he was, quote unquote, again, doing the right thing. Or it could be teased for the future, putting himself where he doesn't belong. Basically, Osha's future. He doesn't belong in Osha's future, but he kept trying to persuade her that he does, that her dream was to become a Jedi, and he can help her with that. But like I've been saying for every single episode, like I think since episode 4 or 5, Sol, you broke Osha's dream of becoming a Jedi the day you invaded her home in an effort to protect her. That day ruined Osha's life completely. She was never able to become a Jedi because she was never able to get over what happened to Sol, or to Mother Anastasia and her sister and the Coven, because you robbed her of that. And while she was a Jedi, she didn't last long because of his own actions. Very tragic. This part here, Soul takes aim at May, or he was trying to ram into them, but Basil stops him, pulls off the wires, and May and Soul crash down with each other onto Brendock. What are your thoughts here? Do you think he was actually going to shoot her or actually going to ram into her?
My initial thought, because I don't think Soul is inherently vengeful.
Yeah.
My initial thought was he's going to disable the ship.
Okay. Yeah, just disable the ship. I thought he was also like clicking on one of the buttons to use like the what's it called? The gravitational pull.
Tractor beam.
Tractor beam. Like, oh, let me insert tractor beam, and then May had to be like scrounged out of it somehow.
Interesting.
But I thought that was it. But then it looked sus, and I understand why Basil removed the wires. People were very confused about Basil's motivations here. It seemed obvious. He looks over, the screen pans to Soul's targeting computer. Basil's like, whoa, and then just pulls off the wires. That's when Basil.
Clip it. Clip Evan doing that.
Don't do that. It's 11 a.m., guys. Yeah, so Basil stops him, May and Soul crash, and then we get a delicious political scene that kind of thematically sums up the complexity of the Acolyte season 1 here, where Vanestra is chilling in her chambers. Maud comes over, says, Senator Raincourt wants to see you. She's like, oh, yeah, I'll go to him soon. And he's like, well, he's already in the like comm room or something. She's like, you let him go here? And he's like, oops. But anyway, she comes to see him, and David Harewood is not the Sith like people thought he was going to be.
John Jones
is in fact playing Senator Raincourt, who I thought was going to be like an alien figure or something, but no, this is a prominent actor, David Harewood. Nathan says
he on the cast list before.
He was rumored. I think Jeff Snyder actually rumored him before the season premiere. I think it was like the day of season premiere, like last minute casting rumor, and most people just laughed it off. I didn't really believe it, but then when Leslie said like there's a possibility of seeing 2 Sith masters, people are like, could he be a Sith master? That'd be kind of cool. You know, he's a deep voice. Nope, we got Plagueis. But he's playing Senator Raincourt. I think was a much smarter choice, not in hindsight, obviously. And this was interesting. First off, I wish we got more of these scenes progressively throughout the season. One of my favorite arcs in, of course, Andor season 1 is the progression of Mon Mothma's arc from somebody who was, trying her best, losing the fight politically, and having all these like tough, complex decisions on what to do with her family, her daughter, her husband, the rebellion, the growing rebellion, her alliance with Skarsgård. We saw that back and forth magically throughout season 1. I thought we would be able to see a progression of Vernestra grappling her love of the Order and the sins of the Order. I think those two things could have meshed well together. They kind of come together in this finale, but I think it would have been smarter and better. I don't want to say smarter because I'm not Leslie. She's a genius. Don't get me wrong, Leslie, if you're watching this. She's
a genius. Don't get me wrong.
She's a genius. Don't get me wrong. She's the best. Vote for her. Vote for season 2.
Very good Jedi, both sides.
Yeah. Oh, boy. That was great. And your water's gone already?
I think it's bad.
How's water bad? Do you have a water filter?
We do, but it probably needs an update.
Probably need to do that. Or have lemonade like me.
I did.
You did?
Well, we just went to the grocery. It's warm. We're just gonna cool it. Wait.
Yeah.
Some things you just can't rush.
Yeah. That's a whole other conversation. But I loved this scene here. So he jokes about Vernestra's hyperspace, like small talk, like, oh, how do you survive through hyperspace? Is your stomach okay? He's like, oh, it's my head. And this just, as we move into season 2, possibly, for sure, I want to see Vernestra's get a vision in hyperspace. This is the second time somebody referenced her hyperspace sickness. As she mentioned, it is her head that gets affected by it. I would love to see a vision. Imagine, guys, you see Vernestra in hyperspace in season 2 with May. She goes to hyperspace. She's a vision of her and Chimere when they were in the past, when they were, Padawan and Master. We get to see young Chimere in Jedi robes. Give it to me!
Oh,
Come on!
I thought you were gonna be like, if we had a flashback with young Vernestra in the High Republic novel era.
That would be great too. But yeah, that is more of a pull. But I would have loved to see. I think it's I would say one of my 90% predictions just up top in this episode here. We will see Chimera and Vernestra flashback in the way of the Osha Soul May flashbacks we got this season. Osha and May were episode 3 flashback. Soul was the target of episode 7's flashback. I think we'll see the same thing in season 2. We're going to get Vernestra and Soul, or Vernestra and Chimera, multiple flashbacks, or maybe at least 2. And Chimera being young. And then we'll see, of course, Benny Jacinto Chimera version. I kind of want both. That would be great. Just to see him in those High Republic robes would be amazing. I still want to see Osha in High Republic robes. Yeah. We might be able to see that through May now. Amanda Stenberg in High Republic robes in the present time. May, maybe. I don't know. Well, yeah, that's theory crafting there. I don't know what May's role is in season 2, but fascinating to say the least. But yeah, so that was just hyperspace theories there. But so again, let's see here. He talks about a murder investigation, and she says she was keeping it internal because it wasn't going to affect, the external people outside of the order. And he says, like, there's multiple victims. Have you found a perpetrator yet? And she's like, no, basically hiding. And at this point, she says she's close to finding a suspect. Obviously, she's lying because she has no clue who did it. But I'm going to ask you this. Is she thinking about Soul in this moment? Was basically like, was it a rash decision to blame Soul at the end, given she saw her dead body and his dead body, and she's like, I could use this in the end? Or when she's getting grilled here, is it possible that she's like, we're close to finding a suspect, and in her mind, she's like, it might be Soul?
I think a testament to her character is the fact that episode 6, it's suggested that all this may be because of Soul, and she doesn't downright explore the possibility immediately. She's like, that is quite the accusation.
You're treating us with minus thin eyes, Ellie.
And then, being presented this question, she isn't immediately like, yeah, we have someone that we believe to be, and we're bringing them in. She's just like, she doesn't give up Soul in that moment. I think she's not jumping to any conclusions, whether or not she kind of does feel that way by the end, which I don't think so. I think she truly is waiting until she has all the information to truly put the blame on anybody.
Yeah.
And then the whole ending of it, just kind of like the whole situation for her perspective is just so messy that she's got to play it like this, I guess, because I guess she also kind of has the preservation of the order at this point in her hands.
Bingo. I think her main thing, the preservation of the order, and similar to Soul, this noble mission of doing what is right for the order. In one way, she's right. What I love about this following conversation with Raincourt is that both sides are right or flawed, not right, or they're very flawed. These are both institutions, Senate in politics, Jedi in, this religious order. And both are flawed. Both are wanting to preserve their own institution over the other, even though they are aligned, and one wants influence over the other. Or at least in the Jedi's case, they want influence just to stay away. They want a separation. A Raincourt wants a closeness, a bond, a tie to the Jedi to keep them in check. Yeah. And that's not what Vanessa wants. But he goes off here, Nathan. He says, and I quote, you guys are a massive system of unchecked power, posing as a religion, a delusional cult that claims to control the uncontrollable. Is it the Force? No, not the Force, woman. No, I'm kidding. Not the Force. Your emotions. Protect an image. You project an image of goodness and restraint. But that only amount. There's only an amount of time until one of you snap. Not if, but when that happens, who will be strong enough to stop him? This was big, and I think he clocks the Jedi religion in a big way, or the Jedi at least at this stage of the Jedi, in a solid way. They are unchecked. Fair enough. Their only check is the High Council, the Force itself. Posing as religion, a delusional cult that claims to control the uncontrollable, not the Force, but your emotions. Emotions are uncontrollable. Soul's emotions, his immediate connection to Osha, is definitely what sparked his attachment to Osha, his attachment to doing the noble thing and invading the Witch's Coven. And that's a major factor for the flaws of the Jedi. They're unchecked emotions, uncontrollable emotions. It's mostly uncontrollable because they're taught to suppress it for a long time. Even though, they're taught to suppress it. The best Jedis are ones that are able to acknowledge it, but that doesn't work for a lot of people. And that specifically, again, doesn't work for Osha, which this story is about, or Anakin. Certain Jedi who, even if they try to acknowledge it, won't function because the support system isn't there. But I think Raincourt, in all his flaws, of course, because he's wanting a closeness with the Jedi, which isn't good because he's before the Senate. In all his flaws, he does, I don't totally disagree with him here. They are unchecked in a way, but I think more than being unchecked, they have like this clout amongst the galaxy. One of the major lines from this season was, you should know it is our right to test Jedi Padawans. It's like these kinds of things make them unchecked. Who's making them have this kind of power, the Jedi, in terms of like having all this power over young children. It's very interesting. Again, I like this line here. You project an image of goodness and restraint, but it's only an amount of time until one of you snap. Not if, but when that happens, who will be strong enough to stop him? Very weird that he says him. I rewatched it twice. I'm like, him? Because it obviously has your mind thinking back to Anakin, who, again, unchecked power. But not her. It comes off as sus to me. Because he's talking to Vernestra, a woman. So yeah, that seemed weird. But yeah, what do you think about this whole Rey and Court sequence here?
Definitely compelling. Definitely not the only example of the show kind of echoing the downfall of the Jedi post Order 66. Which is interesting because like at that point, that's kind of Palpatine kind of comes into that unchecked power element, or doesn't he? The dictatorship of it all.
Yeah, Palpatine becomes the one who eventually abolishes the Senate, so they both become useless. But yeah, like these flawed institutions are a great way for Leslie to illustrate to the audience how there's no good guys or bad guys here. A lot of people are saying the Jedi are evil, they're bad after what happened on Brendok. But those were the work of 4 individual people, specifically just Soul. Jedi are human. It's the work of humans who are, if written well in TV shows, neither good nor bad at times. And Soul wasn't neither good or bad in that situation. He was doing what he thought was right according to his emotions, which I think is the main fair criticism here, the way the Jedi handle emotions and attachments and restraint and suppression. So that it was just very interesting. And he says, I already mentioned how the word of him is weird. Maybe that just goes into his underlying sexism, or just how he thinks the men might have the most power in the Jedi Order. I don't know. It's weird. But anyways, he said he doesn't, or Vernestra says he doesn't share this majority opinion. But all that he just said about the Jedi unchecked power, emotions, Vernestra claimed that this isn't a popular opinion. He doesn't have the majority opinion. And he acknowledges that.
You may have them fooled, but you can't fool me.
Exactly. And I think there might be an arc for his own in season 2, where you might not have the majority, but eventually more and more people are going to start thinking like Ray and Court. When we were first introduced to him, Vanessa's buddy was like, "Don't worry about it. It's just Ray and Court. As long as you guys don't have anything to hide, you'll be fine." Because nobody else likes him. But the Jedi are going to continue to have secrets, continue to have these, secrets. And it's not going to be good for the Jedi. More secrets, more problems. And it's going to lead to a more close relationship to the Senate or basically the Republic and the Jedi. Are they going to be peacekeepers of the galaxy or peacekeepers for the Republic? And that's where the issue lies. And it's tragic. Again, I think the beauty of this scene was we see Vanessa doing all this sus and unfortunate stuff at the end of Soul. And it comes across very bad for her. I will admit that. It's kind of shocking as a Vanessa fan of the High Republic. I can't envision her doing this. But we don't know there was 100 years between now and the High Republic Publishing Initiative. A lot of things could change. And she becomes her love of the Order, similar to Soul's love of Osha, leads her to do something that she thinks is noble, but at the cost of her friend and Soul. So the love people have for each other, especially in Jedi, can lead to a lot of sacrifices and unfortunate realities and tragedies. So I don't like a lot what Vanessa had to do here, but Rebecca did say, she posted on Instagram. Again, Rebecca is Leslie's wife and plays Vernestra. She says, I forget what the exact quote was, but something along the lines of have faith in Vernestra. She was doing what she thought was right. Vernestra, watch out for her in next season or what's next for Vernestra. Basically, it just gave me hope that Leslie has a path, a sympathetic path for Vernestra, because all the bad things she does here in this episode, getting grilled out by Ray and Court, and most audiences come away being like, is Ray and Court really wrong there? Which is a fair take. And then with the Chimera revelation and what she did with Soul, it makes people think whatever happened between her and Chimera, is Vernestra the most at fault here? Especially given what we saw with Soul, where what we saw between Soul and Osha was mostly at the fault of Soul. Hard to dispute that. So it's immediately we're like, what did Vernestra do to Chimera? But we could see a twist, and it's basically Chimera was the one who really lashed out. But at the same time, we talk about suppressed emotions and Chimera and all that kind of stuff. So it's very interesting. And Manny was also very excited to get into the Chimera of it all with Vernestra. And I'll talk about that later on for sure.
If you haven't seen it, Manny posted a video of him just being fucking locked in watching the finale.
I saw that. His wife Diane posted it. Who, by the way, I would love it if she's in season 2 because she's beautiful as hell. But also really talented. She's my second favorite character in Warrior, the HBO series. 3 seasons, guys. She's great. I think she was also in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think she played Chloe's sister. Sky's sister. Does Sky have a sister? I think she did.
Does she?
I thought she did. Am I making that up, guys? Am I making that up? I thought she did. Season 4, 5, 6. We'll see. The Hydra arc. I know she had a secret mom, but I swore she had a sister. The mom is the person that plays at the end of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But I thought she was in Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well, playing some kind of role. But she's great. If you really want to watch a great kung fu show like Acolyte with Forrest Fu, Warrior on HBO. Now it's on Netflix. All 3 seasons are on Netflix. Please watch it because I wanted season 4. All my shows just not fucking continuing. But it's fine. It's cool. It's fine. It's cool. And she is extremely talented, dark, sinister. It's great. And I think she would make it for a great bounty hunter, antagonist, maybe just a cool person in season 2.
Just a nice person.
Just a nice person. Just a person who just, she can be like the Mog. I'm kidding. Don't waste her like that. But I think she'll be a great asset. And, Rebecca or Leslie hired her wife. Hire Manny's wife. Nepotism, baby.
Do you know how like goated of a wife you have to be like, hey, I'm gonna make you play this like beloved book character, and also I'm gonna make you act opposite with Yoda. You're welcome.
That's wild. Yeah, that's insane. But she did that for what was her Netflix show called? Leslie's Netflix show.
The time travel one.
Yeah, I forget it, but it's a great show, and
Russian
she was
Doll.
in that. Russian Doll, thank you, and Rebecca was in that as well. She played the best friend to the main character.
Cool.
We cut back and we get some big color theory. Again, as Osha is in all black. As soon as you see her with the all black, the black hood, she's walking to the ship. I'm like, it's like you can't fool me. It's classic Star Wars color theory. Wearing all black.
Open the little white.
Open this thing.
To the Luke. Come on.
It's still she has like the black athletic shirt on from episode 6.
It's a dark gray. It's very stormy in the mind, but
yeah,
it's clear. We don't know.
You never know. It's black with the hood on. She means business. It's not good. Chimera put his back on his this Darth like stranger raincoat-esque mission attire. And I just love this banter. He's like, so you're not gonna tell me where we're going? Nope, you just gotta trust me. It's like you think like you perceive me to think that I'm fair. She's like, yeah, pretty much. You gave my sister a deal. You kept your end of it. And basically, and that's when he finally asked her, it's like, wait a second. Would you ever consider,
I like that. He was like trying to put this front, like, oh, you think I'm fair? And then he folded immediately.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing later?
Yeah, what are you doing later tonight? Are you busy? I loved Chimera in this episode. It's like he, but outside of the soul fight, he was very much a romantic lead. That William Darcy character, Mr. Darcy character from Pride and Prejudice, very much so. Just antagonizing her, but playfully. Would you ever consider last chance? Motherfucker, it ain't your last chance. You can ask her 5 more times. But yeah, and of course she says no. Again, I'm not like my sister. He's like, no, you're not. At least you're taking your time considering it. It was great. And clocking Osha again. It's like, Osha, you are considering it. Stop trying to keep up the front that like, no. It's like, because she came up with the solution at the end of the episode to train with Chimera very quickly. And I'm like, okay, so this has been on your mind, presumably. And she's gonna need it, given what we see later in the episode. Yeah. But yeah, so they both get on the ship. And they fly off, and we go on to the next scene, right? Right? Everything's cool, right? No, we stay on the island.
I've never been like the biggest like obsessee.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
I still haven't read the book. I want to.
You don't read anyway. Don't lie to me. You don't want to read the book.
I haven't listened to the audiobook.
No, you won't.
But the whole idea of it is very compelling, and we're in like the first like third of the episode, Evan.
Yeah, this was insane.
And he just he creeps in like, ooh. even the music is like fucking dark and eerie.
What I loved about it was also like it gave us classic Alfonso Cuarón in Harry Potter 3, what's it called? Prisoner of Azkaban. With the train, you get the fingers, the mentors. I love that scene. It's just it's always like haunted me, like the finger before you even see the figure itself.
It's very terrifying.
And same thing here. We see the fingers. I'm like, what the frick? And Plagueis, out of the shadows of the cave. He doesn't have a name tag, guys, but it's a moon.
I'm raising the brightness, the exposure, the contrast. I'm saturating. Sharper the image.
Wow. Leslie, you're doing this. Doing this. This has been a theory from day zero when this show was pitched and let loose on the internet. People were like, "Oh, a Sith show set prior to the Phantom Menace. Is Plagueis going to appear?" And when we got the timeline that it was 100 years earlier,
he's him.
Oh, there we go.
He's him.
Oh wow!
It's him.
Look at that iPad. That's a good visual.
Look at that eye. That's Sith eye.
That's amazing. That's crazy. This was insane. And yeah, when it was revealed that it was 100 years ago, I kind of went away from the Plagueis theory. I'm like, okay, it was possible, but maybe in future seasons, not in season 1, because it's 100 years ago. I think Plagueis has a master called Darth Tenebris. Maybe Tenebris is with somebody else at this point. Plagueis was born early, way past this time. But that was Legends. This is canon. We're seeing Plagueis now. And I have like 5 questions right here that I need answering from you.
Oh, hit me.
Now,
I'll answer right now. Honestly.
20 questions. Survey says no.
20 questions. Is it a character?
Well, so okay, I'll preface it with when this show started for the first half of the season, I was like, okay, the Stranger using May. I think me and you were both on the same page. The Stranger was the apprentice of the equation.
Yeah,
I think that made the most sense. He's put himself out in the open, at least in episode 5, and I'm like, okay, this guy is the apprentice using May, fulfill these lessons, using her to eventually kill his master. That was my main theory going into the show. A Stranger uses May to kill his master, rule of 2, and then that could be a compelling story. As the season went on, and especially with episode 5, I changed plans here. We saw Chimera revealed under the mask, and I'm like, okay, he's spouting notions of freedom, notions of like chaos. I just want to do whatever I want, basically. I want to practice. I want to use the Force however I will. Whatever he said, paraphrasing there, the soul.
I want to use the power the way
the way I want. And episode 6, freely, yeah. Episode 6, he's talking to Osha. He's like, the power of 2. I hate rules, right? I'm like, this guy hates like the rule of 2. Maybe he got, and we saw the scar. And I'm like, I really don't want that to be Vernestra. So if it wasn't Vernestra, I'm like, okay, then maybe it was his Sith master who he escaped, and his Sith master is after him. And I thought that would be like leading into the finale where the Sith master is like, Chimera, you try to run away from me, but you're a loose cannon, you're a loose edge, you made yourself vulnerable to the Jedi. Scrap that all again with this finale, with Plagueis being on unknown planet. My question is, are Chimera and Plagueis already in the rule of 2? Is Chimera aware that Plagueis is on his island with him? My question to you.
Oh, okay. I don't know. But I kind of like the idea he doesn't.
I kind of do too. Granted, both are insanely cool, insanely interesting for different reasons. If he doesn't know, okay, now I'm bringing this down in my head. If he doesn't know, that would mean that Chimera broke away from Plagueis, and then Plagueis found him, hence this scene here. Like, I found you, you try to run away, who is this Osha character? That could be interesting. And then he has to be like training Osha to usurp Plagueis. That's going to happen either way, whether he knows Plagueis there or not. And then, chaos unfolds from there. Yeah, and then, or does Chimera know all along that Plagueis was at this island? That recontextualized episode 6 a lot. Like, doing all this vulnerable romantic shit, and Plagueis is there the whole time. This is just wild to me. But it's not out of possibility. Because at first I was like, I tweeted like Noah in the DMs. I'm like, would Plagueis be cool with what he did in episode 6? What Chimera did in episode 6 or 5 for that example? Just like, the Jedi know who you are. bad news, Chimere. Murdering a bunch of Jedi, not cool, Chimere. But Chimere handled it at the end of the day. And his connection with Osha. Would Plagueis be cool with this? Granted, under the rule of 2, it's not bad that you have an apprentice. Sidious had Dooku get Ventress, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. So like the Dooku Ventress Sidious thing was a thing, and Plagueis could be like, okay, so this is your threat that you're posing to me. But how's Plagueis going to handle that? And yeah, again, I wrote my notes here. Like, there's so much about him and Chimera that we just don't know about. Yeah. And my other question is like, what does this set up for season 2? I guess this is more season 2 plans and theories, but like, how is Osha going to feel about this? She's trained to use her dark side, but she isn't trained to become a Sith just yet. And we'll have to figure out what's next for both of them that way. Osha has to come to understand her own power before she even thinks about accepting this rule of 2. Because if they do get in the rule of 2, that leads to bad places.
Evan, if they wrote a plot where it's coming down to Osha, it'd be like, you wanted the commitment to the dark side. No, I wanted a commitment to you.
That's what I think is happening here.
I did want to hold your hand.
Stop it. But you're right. I mean, Chimera wanted to hold her hand like at least 3 times in this finale. And
I remember, what was it? Like, she passed the saber back under the tree, and it was like,
no, he was giving her like she was giving him like a handshake, like, and he was like, no, here's the lightsaber. Let me put my thumb over your thumb. Like, okay.
It was very much like,
yeah, right. It was like, I think she was asking to shake her hand, and he made it a lot more intimate, kind of. But so yeah, yeah, she's like, so yeah, this just
like
poses.
Chimera asked, "Would you like your receipt?"
You like your receipt here, please stay.
So stupid. What are we doing? 170 episodes.
But this is the thing here. Like, Plagueis poses so many interesting possibilities where I'm starting to think the Chimera does know, but Osha doesn't, obviously, and that creates a lot of like mistrust when trust and intimacy are building. Like as the romance builds, as the rule of 2 might falter, I'm like, man, this is just captivating as all hell. And the beauty of this all is, this is our big bad now. But Nathan, he doesn't lose.
Oh,
we know the ending, and this is very similar to Bad Batch viewing, Andor viewing. Kenobi viewing, right? Where it's like, Vader was the main antagonist of Kenobi. We know how that ends. Vader's not going to lose, but how are they going to execute that? Andor dies, but how are they going to execute his journey to get there? Bad Batch, we know the clones eventually lose. The clones don't survive to the original trilogy, but how do they get to the journey? How do they escape this inevitable tragedy? And Bad Batch, gloriously enough, created a third option. No death. There was neither death nor continuing the life of a clone soldier under the Republic. They went out of both roles there and created a third option of just being clones, but doing what they want, their choice. As they tell Omega, it's up to you. If you want to join the rebellion, it's up to you. Here's a third option.
I love third options.
I love third options. And
Ahsoka's fighting Vader in the temple. It blows up. It's like, does she make it out? Third option, portal.
Third option, magic, brand new lore, world between worlds is created to give Ahsoka a third option of life, a new lease on life. And that's the theme of this finale as well, where Osha and May May to a tragic extent, but Osha, for a positive extent, gets a new lease on life. Tragic, positive, however you want to infer there. But at least she's making her own positive choice, at least. And the rule of 2, them being on that, there's no third option there. You're stuck in the rule of 2. Osha, Chimera, one of them will die. No ifs, ands, or buts. Maybe both of them. That staying into, I'm just being the truth. I'm being truthful. If they stay in the rule of 2, as Leslie said, I think one of the quotes from the article I'll pull up later also alludes to that. Like, if they stay on this path, it's over for them.
If they stay on it.
Exactly. If they don't, though.
Third option, Chimera Redemption arc.
If the love prevails, the Knights of Ren are a possibility. I was like, the Knights of Ren have become even more of a possibility. Like it's insane. Like I was against it early on because it made no sense. Now there's a higher possibility that like they can just leave Plagueis's control. Like, hey, Plagueis, maybe Plagueis thinks they're dead or whatever, or fake their death or whatever. They can. There's a lot of ways they can live without sticking to the rule of two. Because again, if they stick with that, they will die. But OMG, Leslie put Plagueis in this episode, and it has my head spinning, and it's going to continue to have my head spinning for years and years to come until season 2 gets renewed and it's out to the world. Last question on Plagueis until I come up with another one. Do you have any idea who could possibly voice him? Andy Serkis has been floating around, which would be very funny, because Snoke is Plagueis. Snoke is Plagueis, bogus rumor. But yeah,
I don't know. Isn't the same species in Attack of Clones like talks like this or something?
What?
I don't know. Isn't something fucking?
Have we seen a moon in? We have, right?
Yeah, in Attack of in that separatist meeting.
Okay.
Geonosis.
I always thought Plagueis had like a raspy voice. Something
It's always the assumption, but it's like, hey, I'm looking for Larry.
Hey, Chimera, who's this OSHA girl? She's kind of cute.
Hey,
Chimera,
it's your friend.
He talks like the clown in Sky High.
Oh no,
who's the baby? Like, what'd you do?
I forgot about that character until you brought him up.
A fantastic character. We gotta watch Sky High.
Yeah, right now, right after New Mutants.
Yes, right after this.
Yeah, the palate cleanse.
Yeah, because definitely let's do that after New Mutants because and that's basically Chimera and Plagueis, where homegirl Mary Elizabeth Winstead is Chimera, who has lived for a long time. Leslie's just taking notes from Sky High.
I would love it. Apparently, the Will Stronghold was he was one of the 3 testing to play Anakin in the Phantom Menace.
Wow, I've been a different reality.
Yeah.
What's been Sky High's TV series, Disney?
What's your question? Who would voice him?
Yeah, I was just kidding. I know, but I said Stan Witwer is a great voice actor. Cool. Matthew Mercer, I'm a fan of, from like fantasy shows, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Laura Bailey. No,
Internet breaks.
Internet break. Woman voice.
Peter Pascal.
Peter Pascal. Oh, I wouldn't like that. No.
Robert Downey Jr. is Darth Plagueis.
Yes. Hugh Jackman is Plagueis. Ryan Reynolds. Oh god.
He's cute. Who else can I pull out? Survey says Kumail Nanjiani.
Very funny. He's great. So yeah, I'm curious to see what kind of voice they get for Chimera, or for Plagueis, and what he just looks like out of the shadows. This made a lot of sense because it's like not a last minute thing, but just like we haven't fully decided what his character is yet, so we'll keep 90% of him in the shadows, and we'll show you a little bit of his face and his Sith eye. But yeah. But let's move on here. Oh, sorry.
Well, you know who would be a good voice actor?
What do you think?
I think. I'm still thinking.
Okay.
I do want to
thinking.
I do want to give an answer.
Dang. I was gonna say somebody, but he passed away. I'm an idiot. The Zeus guy from Percy Jackson.
I like the voice of Richard Armitage.
Oh, give me a example of his voice.
He's the lead dwarf in the Hobbit trilogy.
Okay. Yes. That's a good one. Part of me might agree with you. It might lean on the slightly British side. Maybe not.
I never even considered an accent. It's fun. We always see like these wrinkly ass creatures, and we're like, yeah, the raspy.
It's just raspy. Deep. Yeah.
Like, I think, Chimera, you should join.
You know, I like the person that plays Hemlock. What's his name?
Ooh.
Theo James. Oh no, it's not Theo James. It's somebody else. It is Theo James.
It was somebody in another thing who sounded like that character, but it was a different actor. What was it that we watched?
Jimmy Simpson is his name, not Theo James.
But didn't Theo James play somebody?
Theo James
in X-Men 97.
We've been watching. Yes. He's a big bad. He's starts with B in X-Men 97. But yeah, and he was Bastion, which was a great villain. So I would love a Theo James, Jimmy Simpson, that kind of like character, that voice. That'd be really badass.
That'd be cool. I can't deny though. I like a growl.
I do like a growl, but I think Jimmy can get there. I think Jimmy can do a good growl. Alexander Skarsgård, Bill Skarsgård, one of those Skarsgård freaks. They can do a good growl.
One of those freaks.
Freakazoids.
Why is there a circle on your A? No.
So yeah, that was just wow. Leslie. She said she wanted to pull a big Legends character for the series. And I figured it was like, I didn't know what I was expecting. Legends is so vast. I was kind of like, okay, we'll see. It's probably like some kind of weird canon, like not a character Easter egg, but just like a Legends reference event Easter egg. But she pulled up, if somebody was like a Legends character, Plagueis is probably number 1.
Yeah. Maybe
Thrawn, number 2, but became canon. Revan and Plagueis are probably like the Legends to canon, both of which are canon. Revan is canon because of some Tross bullshit. Not bullshit, but
is he one of the statues?
One of the statues and exegol stuff mentions Revan.
He was a deleted Clone Wars scene for a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Revan, people don't know, as Nathan alludes to, when the brother from the Mortis arc goes to like some Mustafar, that lava planet part of the Mortis arc, he goes and sees like statues of past Sith, and Revan is one of them. It's a deleted scene. You can easily Google it on YouTube. Search it up on YouTube. Just look up like Revan Clone Wars, and it's there. Old Bane footage is there as well. Bane is the other major Legends character, but Bane also is canon as well. So
I think he's in the Yoda Netflix episodes, right?
Exactly. So Bane, Revan, Plagueis, Thrawn, these are all canon characters from Legends that were very prominent. But Plagueis is the one that we just have not seen in live action. Of course, he's famously alluded to in Revenge of the Sith. And man, Acolyte Season 1 has already recontextualized the way I view the prequels, just from a thematic standpoint. But seeing Plagueis and what he could possibly deliver in Season 2, god damn.
Ooh.
On top of the way I've so much connected to Osha and May's story as like as humans, and Chimere and Osha and Chimere, putting a fan favorite character like Plagueis to intermingle with all that, money.
Leslie was like, I need to at least guarantee some intrigue for another season if nobody's on board. Bam!
Yeah, I'm like, people keep on saying renew the Acolyte. I think it will get a season 2. The first 4 episodes have been dipping down slightly, which isn't great. I talked about this last week in terms of the viewership, the Nielsen rankings. I saw an image the other day right after I had a talk with Nathan, with you. There was an image going around comparing. The person behind you, idiot. It's a long leg.
Motherfuckers coming at me. I can't do it. How the fuck is Nick Cage?
How did he do it?
Under his arms.
Long Arms, the sequel.
Yes.
But what was I fucking saying? I found an image of like comparison between Acolyte and other Disney Plus shows. I'm like, how was Mando season 3 viewed this highly? Maybe because it's riding off the high of Mando. But anyways, Acolyte's towards the bottom.
It's like we're coming back with Moff Gideon.
Yeah,
broke out off screen.
And again, I think it's like I would really, if I'm a producer, if I'm the person in charge of greenlighting or not greenlighting a show at Disney,
you're biased.
I'm biased as hell, first of all. But this is a new show, new characters, new era outside of the Skywalker era. The reason Book of Boba Fett did so well, not so well viewership-wise, but better than the Acolyte so far, at least,
yeah,
it's because it premiered right after Mando Season 2. and it's Boba Fett, which character people just have an inclination to click on.
Yeah.
Acolyte is so new, so fresh. You can grow the freaking audience. Give it a freaking chance. So I would just be shocked. Again, Disney has nothing else on the slate besides Andor and Ahsoka season 2. They need this. They really do need this, and fans are way more excited now more than ever.
I do posit a question to you in regards to Plagueis. How much of his journey do you think we cover in the Acolyte? Like, say we get to a conclusion of the main story that we're following with these characters right now. Do you see it all? Stay with me. Do you see it all? The show, The Acolyte. Do you see it all? The show, The Acolyte, pivoting to new storylines of apprenticeship.
Oh, I would love that actually. Like, give me 3 seasons of the of the Osha, May, Chimere triangle.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 3 seasons of them, and it ends with with Osha and May and Chimere. Osha and Chimere going off, May going with them, or just doing what she wants, surviving. While Plagueis is like, crap, I have to find another apprentice. And that alludes to Palpatine. Because you can't really center a show on Plagueis. He can be a good antagonist, but with Osha and May gone, I don't know who's like your heart of the show.
Like, do you think they would ever like go to like a season like a season 4 where like they jump on like now we're following Palpatine,
they can time skip it.
Yeah,
that could work. That could work. Because again, I don't think you jump to Plagueis in a random character then Palpatine. I think 3 seasons of Osha, May, Chimere. Season 4 jump up to Palpatine's rise, and they can kind of rewrite the Plagueis novel or go as close to it as you want.
Even then, I'm fucking silly. I would be like, yeah, let's put all the characters back in, but they're aged up.
Yeah, exactly. The only problem is that like Plagueis starts off, spoiler alert, first chapter of Plagueis. Plagueis kills Darth Tenebrous, his master, in a rock slide, and then he goes to find Palpatine. He doesn't go to find Palpatine; he comes across Palpatine.
How old? Do you know how old Palpatine is in the novel?
16 going on 17.
Do you know how far?
I don't. He's a teenager, young adult.
Young adult. Do you know how long before Phantom Menace it is?
Oh wait, good point. I guess he'd be older.
Like the events of these stories before the Phantom Menace. Like, not even talking about ages. I'm just talking about
just time in general.
Because it would give me also a gauge of like the age of Palpatine to age into the Phantom Menace arc.
Yeah. How old is he supposed to be in the Phantom Menace? 50?
He could be 50.
He could be 50
at least.
At least, yeah. Young adult for 2 seasons, then just pull the Andor trick. Next season is 10 years, or sorry, not even Andor, House of the Dragon. Next season's 10 years later. Hell, House of the Dragon did that in the middle of the season. 10 years later, episode 6. It's like, oh shoot, okay, cool. Wild. Which is wild, but it worked. That could be.
Do those young actors ever come back? Do they have a shot to come back for like flashbacks?
Spoiler alert, one of them does. But like through vision sequences. So that's definitely possible. Palpatine, Plagueis storyline for future season.
I guess it's like how long
see that rise.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I think that works. Young adult Palpatine for season 1, and then him growing up, escalating his age, doing the events of Plagueis. In Plagueis, there's also another rogue Sith, which could be a good antagonist.
Ooh.
What's his name? Darth Venombrus? Something like that. I forgot where he came from. He's like a rogue Sith of Plagueis or a rogue Sith of Tenebrous. I forget what. But either way.
It is. The novel takes place 35 years before the events of Phantom Menace.
35 years. So yeah, Palpatine's 50, 35, 20. Yeah.
Okay, I'll also confirm how old Palpatine is.
How old is Palpatine in the Phantom Menace? Hopefully we're right.
Right. This is like 75. What?
Is Nathan looking at his keyboard when he types?
Give or take. I stopped taking computer classes in elementary school. Hey.
We're right.
He
40?
is, by the looks of it, hold on. Palpatine is 88 in Return of the Jedi. In Episode 1, he's 52, allegedly.
Clone Wars is 5 years.
52, yeah.
Oh, he said Return of the Jedi, he's 88.
Yeah, and in Events Famous, he'd be 52. So, to quick math, 52 minus 35 is
20.
2.
What do you mean? yes, 18.
18?
Ish, 18.
52.
35. Yeah.
22.
5 plus 10, 15, 16, 17,
18.
17, 18. What did I say? 16 going on 17, guys. Don't
20?
count the math.
You said 20?
But when you very first asked
I know what you are.
When you first asked me, I said 16 going on 17.
We already had an answer. I'm sorry, Jordan.
Jordan, wow, how long ago was that?
Just now.
Oh, that was just now. Oh. I can sorry, Nathan never reads the comments. I'm always doubtful. Venomous was right. Venomous was the answer to.
Okay. I don't think Plagueis has a connection with the Coven, but I think he now has an intrigue of what they.
He now has an in. He has an in.
Yeah.
When his best friend Chimera is like, hey, a master. By the way, I found this way. And I think Leslie was insinuating this after she did a press interview after episode 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, after episode 5 or 6. One of the interviews she did with one of these news articles, she mentioned how what's interesting about the Jedi compared to the Sith is that the Jedi aren't actively looking for new knowledge. They think they have all the knowledge, which is why when they come across Osha and May, they're more fearful of it. At least Soul is. And all of them are kind of fearful. Like, what is all this witchy stuff? While the Sith are more like, how can we use it? How can we manipulate it? How can we use it to our advantage? And I think that's what happened here in this finale. Soul is like, we must explain this vergence and this mysterious version of how you guys created life on this planet. I don't know how she did it. They're confused. Yeah. Chimera is also confused, but it's also like, I can use this. I can do this. Thank you. I am interested.
Yeah, I'm thinking Plagueis' main goal is like, how get me to this vergence point. Let's find where exactly it is, and let's see what I can conjure.
Let's see what I can do here. Also, Leslie mentioned in an earlier interview that this will not be the last time we see Brendock if she gets the chance. Her, Dave Filoni, and Pablo Hidalgo really went deep onto what makes Brendock special. They immediately said the twins are not the virgins. The planet is the virgins. They really wanted to make that clarification. And I think the show did a good job about showcasing that. The twins are not the virgins. They're a product of said virgins. That failed. And Asaya wanted to create a being. It failed. She created two beings with the same consciousness. Osha, May.
It'll be interesting plot point would be if the virgins is only accessible when like the moons are aligning when they do those ceremonies. During
the eclipse, with mythologically speaking, during the eclipse, sun blocks the moon, or moon blocks the sun, and vice versa. I don't know. I'm not a good science guy. I teach science. Avatar. And mythologically speaking, that's when you get into life, death, rebirth. It's all amplified during an eclipse. I think that'll be very interesting to see Plagueis go there. And again, Plagueis is not the one, at least not yet. We don't know for sure if Plagueis is the one who created Anakin.
I think we do. He was trying to manipulate. I was looking into it. He was trying to manipulate the midichlorians in like a nefarious way, and the Force's reaction to it was to recoil off that and to balance itself. And the Force decided to create Anakin in response.
100%. 100%. From the Darth Plagueis novel. Nothing has ever been confirmed in canon. Leslie even mentioned like some fans are mixed on what happened with Anakin. When Qui-Gon talked about finding a virgins in the Menace, do you think there's just a chance for him to attach a wing then? I also took that to mean Anakin, or even just Anakin's. Yeah, that's what makes Anakin special compared to the twins. That's why Leslie said the twins are nowhere near as powerful or special as Anakin. The twins were a mistake. Anakin, though, was created by the Force, and he is the virgins. Yes,
I think Anakin is the result of the virgins, like the virgins that.
I think Anakin is the virgins. That's what makes him special. He is the virgins in the Force. He is a focal point of the Force.
Well, then wouldn't that make Osha and May also virgins?
No, because that's what makes them so different from Anakin. That's what makes them so like conceptually and organically different from Anakin. Right. They were created by Anastasia inside Coral's womb. And they were two different characters. Anastasia did it. The Force made Anakin. The Force as an entity, as a cosmic entity, created Anakin. At least from the Plagueis novel. And it was only because Plagueis was trying to not create life, but prolong his own life.
Right.
Which makes the Sith so interesting, at least him and Sidious. And the rule of two, which is the rule of, you'll find countless YouTube videos about this. The rule of two is notoriously flawed.
Just be careful who you're watching.
From the very, be careful who you're watching. From the very beginning, the rule of two is flawed. Bane wanted to live forever. He wanted to body hop. And he created the rule of two. Palpatine famously never wanted Vader to overthrow him, even though that's the purpose of rule of two. He would torture Vader. He would tease Vader. He would make Vader stronger, but never, ever, ever did he want Vader overthrowing him. And look what happened when Vader did. He said the Empire shouldn't go on, and he destroyed his own empire. So it's like Sidious never wanted that to happen. I think Plagueis is the same way. He wants to live forever, and in his efforts to do that, the Force bounces back.
It's always interesting to see like what these character motivations like bring out of the story itself, because when it came down to, Anakin failed fighting Obi-Wan on Mustafar, and Palpatine tells us this is a great advantage for me to lock this motherfucker down and manipulate that suit how I want so he cannot get me. Yeah.
It's brilliant, and that's what makes the ending of Plagueis so interesting, because you're just like, get away from him, you bastard. And it's so interesting. And I think
Plagueis get away from Palpatine?
Or no, Plagueis get away from Palpatine, get away from Anakin.
Yeah.
You see like Palpatine's insight there when they first meet.
Gotcha.
But anyways, I'm just curious why the Force made a kid on Tatooine of all places. I'd love to see that backstory as part of. Me too. Yeah, it's very random. Like if Acolyte went on for future seasons until Phantom Menace. Yeah, that's what makes it so interesting. Like why Tatooine of all places? Why outside of the? It's just random, I think. But yeah,
it could be random, but also the concept of destiny is like. The Force is probably like, we're gonna put this kid here. These Jedi are gonna have hyperspace problems. They're gonna be they're gonna be right passing by. Perfect alignment.
Good point. Yeah, destiny.
Put in the path.
And destiny is always so interesting. Somebody on Twitter recently was like, "What's one of the major themes of Star Wars?" Destiny is in there, but I think as Acolyte showcases, destiny and choices. It was Qui-Gon's choice to befriend and take on Anakin. Qui-Gon could easily said, "Goodbye, thank you, Anakin, for helping us," and goodbye.
There's a great running theme in. Bear with me, Evans, from Lucifer.
Never heard of it.
There's a great running theme about the concept of, like God's plan and like things being put into place in the flow of the story. Like people are like destined to be at this point, and kind of like the defying of destiny and like the concept of free will. And really, it comes down to like like these things happened, but your own emotions, how you react to them, how you feel about them, that is your free will. You don't have to be along with this and like it. Like how you react to it, your free will is in there. It's really interesting.
It's fighting back against, and I've never seen Lucifer, but like mythologically speaking, and Lucifer is based off of religion and gods, right? But like the concept of like predetermination and how that affects humans compared to gods and devils. it's always intriguing to me. Maybe I should watch Lucifer.
It's so good, man. Evan, I know, goddamn it, you would love it.
I know I would. I don't have time.
There's like some great, they're like great shit. Like a demon can never grow a soul, and someone like, can't they? It's like, what the fuck? It's good shit.
So yeah, it's just there's a lot of ifs and thens and wows and hows with Plagueis. And yeah, again, if the show goes on, it's going to continue the similar theme from season 1 with Osha. Choices, destiny. Was it her destiny to become a Jedi? And was it Soul's choice that stopped that destiny from happening? We'll never know. But either way, her destiny, or at least her life, the path that she's chosen, wasn't able to become a Jedi. Soul kind of ruined that for her. And she chose a choice that was right for her, which is following the dark path. At least dark in our contextual way. I don't think she knows, like, I'm going to become a Sith. Yay! It's like, no.
The unfortunate, I wouldn't say cop out, but the unfortunate situation is it really does come down to, like, whatever the outcome is that we see was always what was meant to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of, but then also, again, the Force responding to people.
Exactly. I mean, it's meant to happen because the story makes it so, right?
Yeah.
That's the power of stories.
One of my favorite Stan Lee quotes, like, people asking who would win a fight, this person, and he's always like, the writer.
The writer, power of the story.
The writer decides.
Yeah. So Soul sets up a tracker for Jedi on Brendok. He crashes on Brendok. Mog says he found Soul. The Jedi go, and it's funny. I think she's trying to contact Vernestra is like trying to contact somebody in the meeting room when Mog comes in. I think she's trying to contact Yoda at that point, which sets up Yoda. We need to talk. Green alien and green alien. The memes on Twitter have been hilarious. One line motherfucker to another line motherfucker.
Oh man,
it's great. Osha turning off Chimera's controls on the ship, dude. Comedy peak, like
so casual.
Peak casual romance. Chimera's just like, oh, okay. Like this so vulnerable, weird dude, like, but not in his white like outfit as he was in episode 6. He's wearing all his black garb, and he's just looking over at Osha like, she just cut me off. Okay. It's like bickering husband and wife. It's very funny.
Right.
I really love that small bit. Like I want Chimera and Osha to go on like random missions throughout the galaxy in season 2. And maybe Plagueis sets up a few traps along the way. Just them entering Brendok and going on some like, how do you open this door? Well, like it's very funny.
Go on a date.
Honestly, they go to Coruscant, they go to Naboo.
Picnic.
I would love that. Picnic in Naboo. If Leslie gave us that, best show of all time.
Honestly, go back to the unknown planet, fucking under the moonlight.
Right? Yeah,
the
but then
ocean, the shimmering light of the moon.
Now I don't want them to go to there because now I know, like, I'll be contextualizing every scene with Plagueis just watching them, whatever they do. Like, they'll share their first kiss, and then Plagueis is going to be right there, like, I'm like, it's not cute now. It's weird.
That's creepy.
It's creepy. It's like watching somebody have their first kiss in their bedroom, but the parents are right there with the door cracked open. It's like
I died. Guys in the group chat, I died so fucking hard. Evan knows. When someone sent a meme with Plagueis and is that person crying? It's like, I hope they're just clapping their hands.
That's
I
great.
love hearing it sometimes, man.
It's great. I hope they're just clapping. I hope. Hey, Kyrie, how's the training going along?
Just going well.
It's going really well. Plagueis is going really well. A bit too well. Oh my God. How did we get here, Nathan? When we're having a true enemies to lovers romance potential that's going to skyrocket in season 2. And Manny, Leslie, Amanda, the directors are all talking about it in multiple interviews. How did we get here? When JJ, Adam, and Daisy were afraid to utter the words Raylo. It's astonishing. But I like it. I like romance. I like it.
Maybe this will open the doors to discuss this in the Ray movie.
For Ben's return in the Ray movie.
Yes.
I would, if that happens, best picture of 2020, whenever it comes out.
Ray finds the Necronomicon.
Yes. What's that from? Necronomicon.
Many different things, but we know it from the Evil Dead.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, I was like, is that from a game? I was playing Wizards 101 the other day, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's.
I was trying to find like lore on the Necronomicon, but it's very like lacking because it's just a supernatural thing used in different media.
Yeah. So yeah, that was just classic. Oh man, we're getting some great comedy season 2. Soul treading through the deserted compound, whispers of the past. I might. When he goes to like the hole, you hear like the whispers of like, no, don't, like mommy, that kind of stuff. It's really cool. But when Soul goes to the bridge too. Speaking of the Ray movie, what are your thoughts? I'm curious if any threads from the Acolyte Mando, especially Grogu, could end up there. Real quick, I think none of the above.
I think any like threads of. I think Mando is taking threads of setting up stuff in the sequel trilogy.
Yes. Mando setting up stuff for the sequel trilogy in terms of like Empire's Return, maybe Plague, or maybe Snoke.
But I am like idealistic, especially since Rey does. I think she still has the text of everything. Taking the knowledge of not only how the Order was in, the Clone Wars era, but also like back in like this Acolyte era and like how the Order was then. Just learning from all these different iterations and Rey making her own bright future of the Order.
Yes, we've talked about this before, and that's my biggest worry and hope at the same time. The Acolyte, contrary to what people think or what they gleaned from the show, I think Nathan agrees, it did a good job showcasing the flaws, these complicated flaws of the Jedi. The Jedi aren't all bad, but they are flawed, fundamentally so. Does that come from them taking children when they're young? Maybe. Does it come from them suppressing emotions? Definitely so. The Acolyte talks about these things. They talk about openly about the flaws of the Jedi and how it personally affected Osha. I really want the Rey movie to continue that. Knowing that these flaws happened, not only to Osha in the High Republic era, not only to Anakin in the prequel era, and not only to Luke in the original trilogy when Obi-Wan and Yoda said, kill your father. It's like there were errors in all three eras. How is Rey going to change that? We saw even in the sequel trilogy, we didn't see much flaws, but we saw Luke succumbing to those flaws and making flaws of his own.
Even like the idea that he ran away from everything. That's a bit of a flaw.
It's a bit of a flaw. Running away, secluding himself, not owning up to his own. He did. Yeah, it's complicated. Luke owned up to his actions, but also lied to Rey. Yeah. So it's like we know, and this was kind of like my flaw. The sequel trilogy is like Luke and Rey's dynamic is so interesting in Last Jedi, but then in Trust, it's like it's not as complicated as I thought it was. They seem to just be best buds.
It is a simple message in it is a dark time for Rey. Which that's nothing wrong with that.
No, but I want her to understand Luke's flaws, which she didn't really do as much. She came to Luke for help in Trust. Luke helped her, revealed to her the truth. But I want Rey to understand a lot of the flaws. I want her to change some things. I want the movie to go out of its way to showcase the Jedi were flawed and like cause and effect. Jedi were flawed. This is Rey's new force of action, and this is how it leads to a problem in the movie. But ultimately, this is how Rey overcomes it, and what's the ultimate positive message that Rey will leave? What's the positive legacy that Rey will leave behind? The sequel trilogy should have answered that. I don't think they did. But what's the positive message that Rey can leave behind about the Jedi Order? An end-all, be-all positive message that criticizes, but also sets up a new positive path for the Jedi. That's what the Acolyte started, or that's what the Acolyte continued, because the prequel trilogy did it, the original trilogy did it, and the sequel trilogy kind of did it, 2/3. So we'll see. That's what I really want the Rey movie to talk about, and put Leslie in some of that writer's room. Honestly, I know somebody's writing it right now, but
I mean, also, just from the aspect of the Acolyte, I'm very excited to see some new young Jedi in Rey's era
Yes.
and her being a mentor. It's so cool.
It's so cool, so interesting. Again, this is 15 years after Tross. Rey will be in her 30s, just like Daisy's about to be in her 30s.
35.
Rey's 35 or Daisy's 35? Or?
No, Rey will be 35 because she's 20 in Tross.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Palpatine's age and
yeah. So Rey will be 35. How will she be as a master? She's gonna mess up, obviously, but I want to see her go through the trials and tribulations.
We love a messy teacher.
We love a messy teacher. One of those Padawans probably going to be bad, or maybe somebody who refuses to go to Rey's Padawan lineage, academy, whatever, turns out bad because she's not forcing people to come to her.
Is it public knowledge she's a Palpatine? Is it going to be like a Leia situation?
Oh no! Hopefully they just don't mention it.
Did you like that aspect in Bloodline?
About what?
People calling Leia daughter of Vader.
Yeah, it was great, fantastic, and how she handled it politically. She owned it. Didn't tell Ben. Had to write a note to him saying, "You might have heard about this on the internet." Whoops. But yeah.
Did Ben just see? Did Ben just find like the wrong articles?
We never really know. Even in the Rise of Kylo Ren, we never. Yeah,
I guess Sunoko's just like fueled stories. I don't know.
Snoke fueled it. Yeah, I have to reread the Rise of Kylo Ren to see if that was explicitly mentioned there. It's been a while. So yeah, I would like that. There's a lot of. I'm very hopeful for the Rey movie, but also like, given what we got with Tross, I'm very nervous about the Rey movie. So we'll see. And my hope for that movie, my opinion of that movie isn't based on Ben reappearing. Even though I think that would like instantly make ticket sales fly, I'm not hopeful for it. I'm not optimistic that they'll do it. I think Disney Lucasfilm is done on the Ben Kylo Ren story.
My expectations are in check, and my expectations are he will not be.
Yeah. Also, I think Adam's done, but Adam is also very much like, if the script's good and director's cool, I'll do it.
Oh, that wasn't sorry. This is off screen, but like another thing in my trailer package for Long Legs, I got Megalopolis.
Me too. I did. I did too. Great trailer.
Compelling look at this movie, dude. I want to see it.
I can't wait to see how messy and crazy it is. I heard it's like cinema at its weirdest. So yeah, Witches Arise. May comes up. Speaking of Ben Solo, when he hears like the witches, and again, Michael Abels is doing the composing for Acolyte. Very good in this whole finale. Like very specific moment where the score would arise. When he comes to the edge of the bridge that broke and he couldn't save both of them when they were kids, you hear the witches like, oh, like back and forth in a haunting fashion. Yeah. And when he leaves, when May stamps her hand on the ground, you hear her like rise up heroically. And that's very cool. Georgina etching Jedi Secrets Rey and some Padawans. I would love that. Jedi have hid some secrets. Get us some Jedi Survivor shit in there.
Yeah, actually.
Similar to Jedi Survivor, they come across the villain there, Dagon, right?
They find they hit the stasis tank.
Copy and paste. Let's see a stasis of an ancient Sith, ancient Jedi from an unknown.
Oh my God, Osha's in the tank.
Oh, she's back and she fights Rey. Oh shit, that'd be lit.
Chimera is in the tank. He pops out and she's like, "I do miss this." Ben.
That'd be cool. But yeah, that's good. Cool, thank you, Jordan.
We love the engagement.
No, yeah, thank you, Jordan. Like and subscribe. I was watching
any questions.
I was watching on Twisters, and this like they're doing like the whole YouTube bit in Twisters. Slight spoiler. And I'm like and subscribe. They didn't say like and subscribe.
Make sure you twist that bell.
Exactly. But yeah, so May comes up out of the abyss, very much entering her childhood room, and I kind of symbolically said May coming out of this dark abyss. Very symbolic of her arc of the season, climbing out of that dark nature that she had early in the season where she was killing. And in this finale, she's rooted in love for thank you, Jordan. She's rooted May is rooted in love for Soul, or sorry, for Osha. And even she doesn't even kill Soul. So she's really elevated beyond her darkness that she's shown in the first couple episodes, ever since she realized Osha is alive. So yeah, that's really cool. But then we get to her entering the childhood room, and Nathan, we get Soul versus Chimera. Thank you for leading me here. We made quite the team. this little bastard. I love how jokey he is. Dude.
Couldn't we keep him? Couldn't we keep Soul?
I would love it. I would love it. But I gotta say, this is one of my new favorite Star Wars fights ever.
It's a great fight. It's a great fight.
I have watched this an illegal amount of times, guys. An illegal amount of times. Like I watched it as soon as it ended. I was like, rewind. I gotta watch this fight again.
If you think this looks dumb or silly, you're fucking boring.
You're boring. You're boring. It looks a bit floaty. It looks a bit weird. Like it's a full-on Crouching Tiger, which I have not seen it. The full-on Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, full-on like wuxia fights. It was impeccable. The close knit of it all. Big Revenge of the Sith energy with just like these tight corridors, the lighting just going back and forth. I was through the roof with how they were fighting. It was the way he cuts through the one of the walls. I'm like, oh,
it got visceral for a second, man. The tight space. Oh man,
the tight spaces. It's kinetic. It's frantic.
Like circling blades that he fucking like broke the flow of.
Oh my god, it was insane. Oh yeah. Soul's like scene transition, just going to the other arena like it's just a 2D fighter game. I'm like, this is incredible. And then him, Chimera switching to dual wielding, fantastic. Soul's keeping up with it, so he throws both sabers, like you said, and then just pulls them back as they're fighting. And then Soul de-ignites and just goes full on. I'm gonna deflect all of it. Like, you gotta be kidding me! You gotta be kidding me!
Coolest Jedi. Is he my favorite? Maybe,
but he's got style. I agree. Yeah, could have used more episodes to take the slow story, but the clear presentation was heartwarming. The Covenant was so spooky, and the lore, action, and mysteries are very fun. I completely agree with you, man. You get it. You get it. I think the slow pacing definitely hindered certain episodes, but I would definitely love more episodes. These 8-episode shows have to end. I don't get it. Granted, they're lucky. I said this about Percy Jackson too. Like, they're lucky the characters are so engaging and the story is so engaging that I don't really have a full problem with it. But it would easily elevate the material. There's definitely room for more episodes, more stories, more time with these characters. And yeah, the queer representation across the board that Leslie put in the show, in front of the camera, behind the camera, in the show itself, is like impeccable. And yeah, the mystery angle, just as a side story here, based off of the question from Jordan, this show was billed as a mystery thriller. And by the end of the season, I think it really excelled at that in unexpected ways. We were expecting the mystery of who killed the Jedi, but we learned early on that Osha and May were twins. Then was it like, oh, wait, was the question of, is a mystery, in fact, who is the stranger? No, that became fairly obvious. The mystery of like what happened to Brendock was really the big mystery. I think they really excelled at that. And it really led to a lot of emotional like issues and complexity in such a cool way. And I think they really excelled at how to like structure the season. I've seen a lot of people say they have issues with the structure of the season. I can't say I fully disagree. I can't say I fully understand them. I disagree. I think the structure is very well thought out. Besides the fact that I think it could use longer episodes. Yeah, like if they gave me another version of like episode 6, like if Osha stayed on Unknown Planet for even longer, hell yeah. Because like, for example, I think Osha's episode 6 is very similar to day 1 of Rey with Luke on The Last Jedi. Day 1 is when she wakes up and she sees Ben in the sunlight and he's like I just hear you. It's just you. Day 2 is when they see like the forest pond, and then like day 3 is when she leaves.
The cave.
The cave, exactly. So like we get progression of Rey's journey in Last Jedi on that planet of Octo. I would have liked that in this episode, in this series too, to see like Osha starting out. She lashes out at Chimere, but then next time we see her is the finale and they leave. I would have loved it if they just like extended another episode of that. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. That said, I hope Osha gets her own cave scene.
Oh, that'd be great too. Yeah, I don't think we've seen the end of Osha's past or her dealing with her emotions.
Maybe more of those. Maybe.
Say it again. Your mic cut out.
Maybe more introspective scenes displaying the isolated meditation.
Meditation, yeah. Oh, what if we see? I read a chapter of the High Republic when this Jedi, she was meditating in a garden. Another character, Elzar, comes up next to her, and they both like levitate together. And I'm reading this, and I'm like, can I get this with Chimera and Osha, just like levitating or training together, back to back, side by side? Peak, please. That'd be really cool.
It's happening.
It's happening, Jordan. We have to be confident in ourselves.
We have to believe. We have to be delusional enough to believe it's happening, to convince everybody that it's happening, so that it is happening.
Exactly. What's the Star Trek quote, Nathan? Hit me with it. I saw it happen.
I watched it happen. I saw it happen. Don't tell me it didn't happen.
Exactly.
I'm gonna make watch. Big Fan is amazing.
Peak, Star Trek 2009, best movie of that year. Yes. But then Osha, the duel periodically goes back to Osha versus May. Thank you, man. Osha versus May, and when we get that transition, when they're fighting and the legs cross, and then we go back to the sabers crossing with Osha or Soul versus Chimera, that transition was peak. I was like, are you kidding me?
This is what I dream about when I animate.
Yeah, right? Leslie understood like the kinetic flow of the battle so well. Speaking of the battle, Osha, Nathan is growling, angry. And what I liked is that I kind of skipped over it, but like Osha comes in when she sees May, she immediately starts blaming her. All this death just because you didn't want me to become a Jedi. Her anger is stemming from how Chimera is allowing, or not even allowing, Chimera pushed Osha to fully confront these emotions that were bubbling up inside. Osha has finally reveled in those emotions of anger, fear, sadness, desire. And that's coming to the forefront in this finale, in particular in this fight with May. She starts blaming May. She is fully angry at May. Her grief is bubbling over, and that creates this very verbally erratic Osha, which we have not seen before, but I liked it. There's a point where they're fighting, and then Osha's like, rah! And May's like, okay, we're doing this.
That was fun. May's like,
whoa. And May's a chill one. May's a calm one. Again, the role reversal of this series was telegraphed, but again, like everything else, telegraphed but executed very well. And yeah, I think she said she failed, or at least in my opinion, Osha failed her dream. Her sister did so much against her. She says, my hatred of you, my grief over my mom, I never became a Jedi. How the person I loved so much could be capable of so much destruction. She's saying this to May. But guys, this is Osha. Everything she's saying, grief, hatred, never becoming a Jedi. The person she loved so much not making her become a Jedi, even though she's lashing out at May, these are the ingredients for why Osha does what she does against Soul. These are the reasons she kills Soul. Hatred, grief, sadness. And these are things she's yelling at May for, but when she realizes it's all bubbling up over her father figure, not her sister figure, it's even more harmful because she's known Soul longer than she's known May, arguably. She known May for 8 years. Soul in the Jedi, she was with them for
6 years.
Was it 6 years? Or she left 6 years ago, I think.
6 years ago, so that would be 10 years.
10 years. 10 years with the Order. So a little bit longer than she's known May, which is just contextualizing how much love she felt for Soul. From the very beginning, she was like, you don't have to blame yourself, Soul.
I would love to have scenes next season of being a bit introspective and May or Osha thinking back and maybe being a bit regretful for what she did to Soul, because her anger is justified, but the actions maybe not.
I would love that.
Am I doing the very thing that I was angry at Soul for? What am I doing? Who am I training with? That introspective also I would love some flashbacks. Would love to see Lee Jung-jae back.
Oh, so wow.
Good.
Maybe. We still never saw Osha in Jedi robes. I would love to see it. Yeah, I think that could easily work. That fight was peak, and seeing a Kyber bleed on screen was that's a great emoji. That was me. I was like that.
I gotta edit my short for that. I only have a part 1 up so far.
Yeah, what are you doing? Nathan's been.
I was working. I'm tired. I was animating. What are you doing? Live feeds? I'm sorry.
Watching for the live feeds. You're not wrong, motherfucker.
I got so defensive. I'm trying to fix this shot.
What are you, Osha?
Trying to fix the shot with Nick.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Like those emotions really bubbling out. And yeah, so basically Vernestra arrives, that distraction causes May to leave. Chimera versus Soul ends with Chimera. I love how Soul uses Chimera's blade, pushing Chimera's blade against his own blade, pushing it closer to Chimera's helmet. Chimera backsteps and tries to attack Soul.
There is a moment where like the opposing clash like intersects and like their own blades are facing each other.
Yes,
or like their opposing blades, so like they could push.
And Soul like pushes his own blade like away from himself but closer to Chimera. It's very interesting. The way like physically, I love when Jedi and fights in these whatever when they use like their hands and push it over the edge. Kind of like Anakin versus Dooku, where he's just like, or Anakin versus Obi-Wan, where he like pushes it over Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's like, ah.
That's just great. Really cool. When they just throw a punch.
Yeah,
like, so visceral.
Yeah, like when Kylo threw a punch at Finn, or then like in TLJ where he's punching Praetorian Guard and slicing the back. Like it's great. It's great. I love when people get physical. There's so many times when Chimera was just trying to like punch Soul.
There's a whole like dramatic shot in the slow-mo. He's coming up.
It's so cool. So yeah, May comes. I forgot to mention, like, they're not here for me, Chimera says when Vernestra arrives. So then, Soul cuts off Chimera's Kyber crystal and blade. And goodbye to the twin blade, goodbye to Chimera's blade in general. Chimera takes off his helmet. I don't know why there's fireworks outside. And May comes, retrieves Soul's saber, and saves Chimera. And this is when things get interesting here, as Chimera goes into full mentor mode. Yes, May. Do what you trained for. Kill him, basically. It went full on back to mentor mode, and she's like, no. Yeah, kill him now. Do it. And May declines, though. He says, like, cut him down, strike him down, and your journey will be complete. And she says, no, I want him to face the High Council, which again tracked with May's character. She asked the same thing for Torben, and he drank the poison. And she wanted him, or when Soul told her, like, I'm gonna admit what I did to the High Council in episode 6, she was like taking it back. But she was cool with it, and now she's asking the same thing. She's done murdering Soul. She wants him to be held accountable.
This is a really interesting thing too. Is like when you look in the full like perspective of the story. It's like, Osha had grievances with all the Jedi, but it's more personal with Soul. So, like, if the other Jedi die, it's whatever. But Soul, she wants the consequences faced.
Yes. big time. And it was great because she refuses to kill. And I think that's when Chimera's like, I was wrong again. This is my last chance here. But then she takes a moment to
Only
say,
once.
because Soul is kind of confused, like, oh, she's not coming to kill me.
Nani.
And what's it called here? So yeah, so she says, so you admit to, oh yeah, so first of all, he says, he admits to saying, I was doing the right thing. I was trying to protect you. This is that misguided father role that I mentioned in episode 7, where he has this emotional, overprotective father role, where he's trying to seclude them, like keep them in. And you know, he again claims how you're not twins. You were created from the Force. Somehow, your mother created life. Your lives it has something to do with the virgins on this planet. And that's when the camera cuts to Chimera looking left and right like, oh, okay. And again, this is something that he's going to tell him. Exactly, Jordan. He wouldn't apologize for killing his mom. He doubles down here, says this was the right thing to do. When Sword says he admits to killing Anastasia, he says yes, as Osha picks up the saber. And again, to Osha now, he says, when Osha says, like, did you really do this? She's like, yes, but it was the right thing to do. It's like he said this like 3 times in the span of like 2 minutes. It was the right thing to do. I was trying to protect you guys. And then when Osha, rightfully so, says, then why didn't you tell me sooner? His response was, well, the Jedi would have never believed me about the virgins on this planet if I just brought you back, or if I told you and the council about May, because May had in his mind died, so they wouldn't have believed him about this whole virgins. He wouldn't have been able to have proof about the virgins. And most of all, he says, you were too old to train. He wanted what was best for her. He wanted to keep the life that she dreamed of alive. And this is the tragic part about this whole series. Osha's main dream was to become a Jedi. Soul wanted to continue that life. He saw Indara say, nope, Soul, we have to lie. We done a lot already to this little girl. You telling her the truth, you'll be wiping away her life ahead of her. By telling her this lie, she can at least have the life that she always wanted with the Jedi. But once again, that life was over. That was never going to happen.
It's a very sad reality of, like, I understand what they're saying, because if they didn't, Osha would have nothing. And then the parallel, May is left with nothing.
Yeah, that's the underlying tragedy of it all. May did survive, unbeknownst to them, and May was the one that was truly left with nothing. She had just anger. Yeah, so what if, Dorn says, so what if she created life? He did not justify his actions at all. Totally shows the fear in the Jedi at other powers. This fear, this confusion. Exactly. That's what it sounds like to me. I think he's trying to convince himself, I mentioned this last week, that he's trying to convince himself that he's doing the noble thing. That still comes through here. He's trying to convince himself that he's doing the noble thing. The noble thing of what's it called? Saving Osha, saving May, or at least trying to save May. Telling them the truth now, being noble, and telling them he was doing it out of love. But the tragic thing, he does not get to tell Osha that he was doing it out of love. He says, I was doing it because I love. And this is when his word gets caught because he starts choking.
There is a great tragedy with Soul's story.
Big time.
I think that you can especially see in like the 6th episode when he's breaking down how he notices how Osha loves Pip. I think that's when he's mentally coming to terms with himself, like, I am feeling the emotion of love for this, like, daughter figure, essentially. And it's like, I think there's, and granted, none of this is all implied. None of this is concrete, but just in my interpretation, I can imagine Soul's going through a lot of processing in terms of like I am doing a lot of these mental emotions that the Jedi have told me to not focus on, but like I literally can't stop them. Like from arguably from day one of the Brendock situation, that was the ignition of that. It's something that's been underlying, even after Osha leaves the Order. Jackie, says like, you keep like the images of your past Padawan, like what's going on? And he spins like a very wisdom quote, but also we know with the character of Soul, he kept it personally for personal reasons. He doesn't want to forget Osha,
and he doesn't want to forget Osha. And it's funny that you mentioned the Jackie part. He kind of laughs it off by saying like, memory, you can learn a lot from your memories and stuff like that. But the thing was, he wasn't just looking at Osha as a Padawan. I think deep down, this was like a daughter for him. The Jedi have a deep attachment for certain characters, for certain people. And I think he really looked at Osha more than a Padawan and more as a daughter figure in his life. Jedi are taught to, not have these super strong attachments. But he looked at her as a daughter, similar as Qui-Gon might have looked at Anakin as a son. But unlike Qui-Gon, he wasn't as mature as Qui-Gon. We talked about this. He wasn't as mature as Qui-Gon to contextualize his emotions, state his case in front of the council. He was very much aggressive, and he let his emotions flow without really knowing the truth of his actions, consequences of his actions. Yeah.
And I think this is an interesting thing when it comes to Soul is that I feel like whenever he's in a situation with characters that isn't Osha, I think he is full Jedi mentality in his actions. But when it's Osha, it's very personal.
Yes.
And that's why, seeing him like run around, like, especially by the end here, it's like, okay, well, I just went through a lightsaber battle. I have villains against me in this situation, but I need to uncover this virgin. It is for the good of the Jedi in his mind.
Yeah, he was trying to balance the good of the Jedi and the good for himself.
Yeah, you really get like a sense of like there's a bit of like a panic of desperation, like at a wit's end when he has to like break this down for Chimera and May. He doesn't want to have this full blown confrontation with Osha. Even when you look at episode 6, when he promises he's going to break it down for her. He's taken a long time to get there. If he was ever going to get there at all, he's just trying to like live in the moment, be consoled, and connect with Osha after so long, after all this tragedy. They only have each other now. But then the realization of May and having to confront it all. There's just so much of the whole story, both the past and present, just creates this converging mess that Soul has to deal with all at once, and it's so hard. And then when Osha does appear and starts to hear stuff, he has to pivot and unveil this mess, and it's not a clean presentation. He doesn't have control of the room to set the stage and like try to explain it as clearly as he would want to. It's just, yes, I did the horrible thing.
It's already out there, and it's
already out. How can I? And there's nothing at that point. There really is no way of saying the explanation to convey what the good he was trying to do at the time. It's just like, I have to answer what she's asking me. This is what happened, and the fate is unfortunately already sealed in that instance.
Exactly, it's already for Osha. It's already sealed. And he's backpedaling, and not even backpedaling. He's doubling down. He's desperate. He's doubling down on what he knows, and that is, you guys are special. This is confusing for him, but he, again, like you said, he wants to go back and circle this back to the Jedi. This virgin is important for the Jedi to know. You guys can both be safe. We can go to the Jedi. We can explain everything. All my actions will be justified if I can bring you two back with me, and I can explain myself with the console of the Jedi. But that doesn't happen, because like I said earlier, every emotion is bubbling up. That betrayal of the father figure, that hurt of everything. She hated May for so long because of the lie that Soul told her. It's like her own flesh and blood, her own sister, all because of Soul. The destruction that Soul caused at her for her own coven that made her fail. Her dream failed, all because of her father figure. And what I love is that, Luke had to deal with this with the betrayal of the father figure in Darth Vader. But he saw the light in him because he's Luke. And he had the great support factor of his upbringing with Uncle Owen and Nabaru, Obi-Wan, Han and Leia. Like, they really helped elevate Luke's humanity. Even though he was already like that because, again, Beru and Owen.
It really is a beautiful thing. I don't think a lot of people think it really is a beautiful thing that there probably was like a kickoff of, Luke seeing like this scoundrel's like he got his money, he's leaving, whatever. The next thing you know, he saved me to accomplish our mission, save the day.
Exactly, and Luke, he grew from that, and he grew to love Han from that, and he grew to love and support his friends because of that. Osha didn't have that. The Jedi are not like, as my colleagues. Like they're not. They didn't have this close relationship with the Jedi as much as she did. And even like Chimera's right? Their love for you can only go so far. That part is true, as he says in episode 6. Their love for you can only go so far. Why do you love people that can only go so far? And then what's it called? So the Jedi weren't a great support system. She left them. Soul, her main support system, lied to her. Was the one that was lying. May, who should have been a support system, she was already angry at. So all that anger and confusion lashes out on Soul, and it's just devastating. Lee Jung-jae's acting here is fantastic. The tear that comes across his face, the slow realization that it's Osha when the hand comes up. And she's not even full like choking him like confidently. It's just like a half measure.
You can see it goes from like the uncertainty of using this power to the commitment of it in the hand.
Yeah,
which is all the more heartbreaking.
More heartbreaking.
And you even see like in like his last few breaths, so realizing like it's at this point like I'm facing my consequences for my actions. I understand. This is the right move. I deserve this. And
he says, it's okay.
It's okay.
Fuck. It's okay. Because he loves her more than a Padawan, as a daughter, as a familial figure. He really just loved her. And
I get like every sense that like in whatever would have happened in this confrontation with Osha, he wouldn't fight back at all.
No,
like,
he wouldn't.
Even like thinking back to like when Korra was attacking, like initially he was like, he was like blocking, taking hits even, but he wasn't like on the offensive.
I like that she didn't pull his saber and just like stab him, like to choke him, kill him without a weapon. It made for much more longer. And this was a long Force choke, guys. This was like arguably longer than when Anakin was choking Padme on Mustafar.
A little more. It was slower.
It was slower.
I mean, this is the first time really tapping into this dark side.
Oh, you mean this is the first Force choke in history, right? Yeah.
No, I mean for Osha. It's Osha's first forte.
Somebody said on Twitter, it's like this is the first Force choke. It's like this. I'm like, you guys are idiots. Anyways,
they want to be hurt so bad.
They do. And it was just it was heartbreaking. And again, doubling down on this, the institution that she centered her life around, not only when she was a Jedi, but even when she left the Jedi, her hiding her emotions, trusting the Jedi, trusting the system. The institution failed her. And Soul was that spokesperson for that institution. He failed her. He dies. And it was just extremely tragic. And I said her support system was gone, but, Chimera was there. Chimera was the one who said, let these emotions fly, basically. Have this freedom of your emotions, which led to this moment. And Chimera is there to comfort her, to put his hand on her. He's very much a hands guy. But she lashes out. as she's been doing a lot this episode. And the lightsaber goes from blue and shimmers slowly to red. I was in awe how they visually showcased this.
That was gorgeous. I did it to our logo on the thumbnail.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Great.
Because I was like, I have the power. Anyway. This is gorgeous. I mean, it's just seeing the initial like crystal itself bleed inside of the hilt. I was like, oh, we're here. It's happening. I'll post my reaction. But yeah, just seeing the visual like burn away of the blue, the purity of the blue to the crimson red. It's so beautiful, and just like not only like the way it happens, but like the time it takes, the spotlight of it, the way like everybody's staring, Osha looking at like her, she's doing it indirectly. She doesn't know, but she's the one causing it, and just looking in like the next chapter of your story is beginning here.
Yeah, it's a good point. This is the beginning of her new journey as the lightsaber turns red. And
I love these logos.
I love that emoji so much. And what's so beautiful, I mentioned this up top 3 moment along with Plagueis and Yoda. Yeah.
I won't blame you, man.
But yeah, this was one of those moments in Star Wars now for me. I was so shocked that we're seeing Crystal bleed in real time. It happened in Jedi Survivor. Yes. Awesome with Dagon. And it happened with Kylo Ren, Rise of Kylo Ren. But this time we're seeing it visually in live action. And that was shocking. Good
Vader
job on ILM. What?
Didn't Vader do it in a comic?
Yeah, Vader too, I think. Yeah.
yeah, Vader. That's enough of his spotlight.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't read the 2017 run in a minute. But yeah, because Sidious wants him to bleed Infala.
He steals that Jedi's blade, doesn't he?
Yeah.
The green blade, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gets
so yeah. So this was, but the beautiful part here, guys, is that she's carrying Soul's lightsaber with her. She'll be carrying Soul's legacy. A lightsaber is, as Anakin says to Padme, this is my life. This is even though he drops it like 3 times. A lightsaber is a personification in Star Wars of somebody's will, legacy, their life, and she's gonna be carrying that with her. A part of Soul will always be with her, tragically, because I think this is her owning her lightsaber now, that is now red, and I'm just in awe.
And something just like to think about the fact that like it's Soul's blade that has been corrupted in a sense, but maybe was the underlying theme of his journey as well, not to turn to the dark side, but just these actions that were not the best,
complicated. Yeah. Soul, the personification of the Jedi, is teetering towards the dark side as the Jedi begins to fall. This show is showing us the steps leading to the Jedi's downfall. Soul's lightsaber going from blue to red is emblematic of that. But the bombshells don't stop. Vernestra exits the ship immediately. Zoop. Chimere's like, head tilt.
She got to find my phone notification.
She really did. She's like, it's you. Chimere looks scared. Fuck. This is wild to me. This predator, this, we mentioned romantic lead. Like, he's joking, confident. Even we only saw him scared once, and that was when Osha was nearly corrupted. Or overwhelmed.
Was he scared for her?
He was scared for her, for sure. Those were Leslie's words. Worried for her. And we see scared for himself. This is some deep, deep, deep trauma, and I need it. I'm going to eat it up.
He didn't just put his helmet. He left.
He dipped. He ran. And he puts his helmet back on like he's Magneto and she's Professor X.
Literally, it was just great.
It was so great. I'm like, whoa, Chimere, this is a lot of packet. And Manny said him and Leslie really spent days discussing what the look should be for Chimere in that moment. Like, what kind of fear should he be looking at? And they finally narrowed down on just like that instant shock and fear look. I think that they nailed it perfectly. It's just like, boom, like all in one instance. He feels it immediately and knows his master's there. She says, "You." We eventually learn that is her Padawan, and he's terrified. And she talks like he's alive. Wow, this was amazing. This was amazing. Like, I want to see more of their relationship. We mentioned it up top, of course, already, but like I want to see more of their relationship, more of young Chimere, young Vernestra, them together, similar to like the Soul and Osha flashbacks. I need Vernestra and Chimere flashbacks. How did it go all wrong? Where did this trauma stem from? And Leslie said, one of the major themes this season, sister, father, daughter. What we haven't seen a lot in Star Wars is mother, son, mostly because mother dies. We get it in Anakin via Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. Shmi dies.
It's something I want from my Ben Solo series.
I wanted that so much with Leia and Ben, but like they killed off Leia and Tross, and we get that beautiful moment in TLJ where he's unable to fire the rockets.
That is
peak.
Goddamn, this top 5 scene for me.
It's so good. I remember watching in the trailer being like,
Ryan, you better not. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, I get it.
I get it. It's so great. But now we have a whole season to dive into that mother-son relationship between Vernestra and Chimere. And that's so interesting. What did she do wrong? What did he do wrong? If anything, immediately I think of like, suppressing emotions, and Chimere wants that freedom, as we know in the present. Was there something he wanted but wasn't able to express? It's very interesting. Does somebody, he says to Osha, I know what it feels like. I've also lost everything. I want to dive into that. What did you lose? And what did you gain as a result?
Who threw you away?
Who's
the actual person who threw him away? Is the question.
And how are they going to compare him with Ocean?
Because how do you think it would go? Do you think it's to be like the Order threw me away, or I was manipulated and my actions caused me to be? I threw myself away in a sense.
They're going to differentiate it between Osha and Soul. In Osha's case, Osha was very much like not the issue, even though she kind of thinks she was. She said she failed, but we know now in hindsight that like she failed because Soul didn't tell her the truth. I think this one's gonna be different. I think Chimere is gonna be just instinctually not vibing with the Jedi. He wants that freedom. He wants to express himself some more.
If it is gonna be a situation of like a mother-son dynamic, imagine Chimere looking for any form of connection. Yeah, any form of emotional connection with Vernestra. But she can't give it because it's not the Jedi way.
Don't do that to me, Nathan. That's some sad shit where she can't reciprocate. She can't go as far. Like he tells her, the Jedi can't go as far as you can. There's a limit to love.
How young is he a part of the Order? Like how long is he in Vernestra's visceral connection? Man, yeah,
I need that so badly. So that's just a dynamic riddled with so many questions and moments. So May says, "Come with me." They're finally together. I love that. Vernestra is the only one hooded as they go enter the encampment. Very funny. It's like he immediately puts on his helmet. She puts on her hood. It's like everybody else is like hoodless and ready for the mission. She's like still hiding. They're both hiding things from each other. And it's like this says a lot about their relationship at this time.
It is really funny. My initial thought when like 20 Jedi walked out of the ship, I was like, "Oh my god, the massacre that's coming!"
Yeah,
they're fine.
They're fine. I was kind of with you. I was like, "Are these Jedi gonna have to die?" But no. I just thought of another question. What we know Vernestra hit, or at least we think that mark on his back is from Vernestra. Not confirmed yet. Not confirmed yet, but it could still be the case.
It could be a red herring.
It could be
people think it's Vernestra, because I think we like theorized could it be Saber whip slash? Sure. Could it also be lightning? Absolutely. Is it from Plagueis? Is he on the outs with Plagueis? We don't know his connection yet to these people.
Yeah. If he's on the outs with Plagueis and Plagueis found him on the unknown planet, even more so that it was Plagueis's lightning, not Vernestra. Also, even
we
if
also don't know when Chimera ever like met May and what the intentions was there from the jump.
True. But also like if Plagueis is his master and they are in cahoots together, Plagueis still could have shot Chimera during a training moment or a moment when they first met. Yeah. It could still easily be Plagueis. But it could also easily be Vernestra. But now I'm thinking like, you know, this season gave us Soul versus Chimera twice and Chimera Unleashed. We finally have Osha with a lightsaber now. She needs an opponent in season 2. Nathan. Osha v. Vernestra. Season 2.
Could happen. Could be Chimera versus Vernestra.
Osha and Chimera versus Vernestra. I think Vernestra's strong as hell.
So, you know what I think?
What?
May spending time with Vernestra over a period of time. Chimera versus Vernestra. Quote unquote brainwashed May versus Osha.
I would love that. I don't know anyone because Osha has so much love for May, and Osha's not mind wiped.
I'm not like a fight, but like probably like Osha on the defensive. Yeah. I don't know if they're gonna go as far as like, yeah, let me give May a lightsaber, but I mean, if she's just like, because she really is kind of back to that innocent state. Not remembering any. We haven't talked about it yet.
I had a couple of theories about that. We'll get to that, but yeah, I think I do want though like Osha fighting a good opponent in season 2. Not because I'm a fan of battles, I am, but just like I want to see Osha's strength in battle. I think we're leading to that. I want to see her strength, her active. We saw May fight in Dara's soul. Like I want to see Osha fight.
What's Osha's saber form?
Great point.
She were to use some of Soul's moves, that would be cool. To just like echo.
That'd be really cool. She's giving me Ahsoka form 4-ish. Very like fluid, erratic, up and down, left and right.
Yeah. I don't know forms.
Well, I don't know either. I used to know them like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
If you know a form, leave it in the comments what you think Osha could be. But like Kyla was very much form 1, at least in Force Awakens. Count Dooku was form 3, 2, I think 2. But either way, 2 or 1, maybe it could be 3. Yeah, I'm curious what form she wants or she has, or like what the show did a good job of was like showcasing how different each duelist was. And Dara was very different from Soul. Soul was very different from like Kawanaka. And Soul was very different from like Chimera and Yord and Jeki. They all had different styles, and that was really cool visually. So we'll see what Osha has. Vernestra, like she hears the whispers of like episode 7 events, where it's like she hears whispers of like Mother Anastasia, Soul, like no, all that kind of stuff. Do you think Vernestra is like she can understand what happened when she comes to that scene? Is she that powerful? Or is that just like the show telling the audience? I couldn't really tell.
I think she's picking like do you think she heard those echoes?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking? Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she was going full like Jedi CSI.
Okay. Full Vin Diesel.
Yes, that is your one example. I love it.
So yeah, and then of course that gives her ample knowledge of how to construct the lie at the end of the episode. So yeah, there's so much baggage there between Vernestra and Chimera as she looks up at him and he leaves. Last time they see each other for now. May recalls going to the tree and waiting. Osha apologizes for not trusting her. Oh, by the way, before they left that, I like how when Osha or we find out that May, when she fell, she went into the chute like Empire Strikes Back. How Luke fell, went to the air duct in Cloud City. May fell, went through the air duct, and it's very much the same like formatting, the circular area. I was like, that's so cool, because I was like, how did May survive that fall? Now we know. It's very cool. Also, when they get to the tree, Osha says, like, you're with me, I am with you. May says, where'd you get that line from? And Osha's like, oh, I thought you made it up. And I'm like, wait, they both don't know how this line originated? Huh? Is this like a deeper part of their subconscious, their shared subconscious, that it came out of them?
Is it the will speaking to them in their creation that stuck with their minds?
Possibly. But I think
the show to get into the wills.
That Leslie would be insane for that if she actually does that.
Filoni did it. She wanted to pull in the live action. Why not?
Right. So yeah. What one of my favorite parts about this finale is that Osha's like, we're ready. Like, we'll just wait for the Jedi to come here. And Chimeira's like, Chimeira and Osha, or May. Chimeira and May are like, when the Jedi get here, they're going to realize how powerful you are. And it's not going to be good for you, Osha, especially with Soul dead. You can't just tell them what happened. Chimeira's like, you still have faith in the Jedi? And finally, May says, what do you want, Osha? I'm so glad this question just perfectly came out. What do you want, Osha? It's your choice. Osha looks back at Chimeira. She says, let me train with you. Yeah, I want that. I want that guy. He said, I'll train with Chimeira if you erase most of May's memory. He says, I'll remove any trace of knowing you or me when they first met. Basically erasing all the past 16 years.
I think Chimeira is the one to suggest it. He's like, I might be able to remove
yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, Chimeira is the one who says that. Which again is funny because it goes back to the whole memory erase thing in episode 2, and Chimeira's like, don't do the whole memory wipe thing when they catch him when they catch him in the apothecary. But now it comes back. He knows how to do it. He used to be a Jedi.
Clues were there.
And he does it. And it's such a sad scene. The way they hugged, they ended the Osha May arc fantastically. Just so heartbreaking, beautiful. Their bond is like everlasting. I loved it. They
finally were back on the same wavelength.
Yes.
And they have to leave so soon.
So soon. It's a short goodbye, but it's a beautiful goodbye. And they'll know this. They'll see each other again.
She embraces the lyrics.
Yeah. She says, "I will find you. I know you will." She says, "As above lies the stars," and then May is supposed to say, "As below lies the sea," but she says, "As below lies the." As Chimeira's hand gestures over her, it's so magical. It's so well done.
It's a fucking fairy tale, goddammit.
It really is. It really is. And it's like, and Osha's confused, and she continues saying, like, I give you, and May says, and you give me, and she can't finish it. I'm just like, it's so heartbreaking, but it's perfect, beautiful. I couldn't have asked for a better, like, goodbye, farewell. One of my predictions was that, like, Osha and Chimeira will run off together in this finale, and they do, but I didn't know how they were going to handle May. Was May just going to go off with Mother Coral or something? Nope. May is gets her memory wiped, which is so sad. She loses all. May was such an active character, a proactive character, doing what she wanted to do. Vengeance against the Jedi, finding Osha, betraying Chimeira, actively doing these things, in contrast to Osha. And now she's back at the very beginning. As a character, she is retroactively has a loss of agency, a loss of innocence, a loss of character. And it's sad to see. Now she's at ground zero. But also we missed it, but the beautiful handshake between Chimeira and Osha. Osha gives him the handshake. Chimeira gives her the lightsaber and just caresses his thumb on top of hers. I'm like, wow. Somebody
Get
tweeted
married.
somebody tweeted like, "Oh, this is basically marriage," and then Leslie says much the same thing in an interview, and I'm like, "This is incredible."
Instead of a diamond ring, it's a kyber crystal.
It's a red kyber crystal. It is a symbolic marriage. It's not a deal. OSHA is going in it as a deal. Chimera's like, no. It's not a deal. This is a bond. This is a union. It's more special than just a May and Chimera deal that they had. This is a bond. And I love it. So then they leave. May gets taken in with Vern. And then we lot to do that day. They go to the end of the episode. She says, what do you remember, Vern or May? She said, they say I killed someone, but I don't remember. And then she said, all I remember is fire and a Jedi killed my mom. And Vanessa is shaken. She's like, you remember, those are memories from when you were 8. You lost 16 years of your life, basically. Which is just, again, just so tragic.
2/3 of your life.
2/3 of your life so far. But we cut to the Senate tribunal. Vernestra's wearing the silver, white, gorgeous outfit. Yeah. She says, 16 years ago, a conflict ensued on Brendok. Sol, well, there was a rogue Jedi named Sol who killed his accomplices to maintain the cover story after that tragic incident on Brendok. The High Council condemns his actions. And immediately Ravencourt is like, we have to go for a external review of the Jedi Order. And Vanessa's like, well, this is the work of one flawed man. He ended his own life. We figure that he ended his own life before being caught. And wow. And as he says that, we see her giving him the Jedi funeral pyre on Brendok, which is beautiful. I'm like, oh, he gets the Jedi's death.
And no one's
flawed. There. No one's there besides Vernestra, who lied on his name. Oof. And I'm not as much as like F you, Vernestra. Because again, but it's also like it's using a very hard. I wouldn't have done this, but
do you think Sol would have okayed this course of action?
No.
Oh.
Maybe. But no. I don't know.
Well, he would want to like, hey, there's dark users out here.
Yeah, exactly. It is a different context. And like, if OSHA's not in the picture, he most of his lies stemmed from doing it for OSHA.
Yeah.
But he does love the Jedi Order, and similar to Vanessa, who's also doing this for the Jedi Order. She's lying, putting the blame on Sol, saying it was one flawed man, not the Jedi as an institution. As an institution, we're doing good. But we know they're not, because Vanessa is hiding a secret of her own, which is her Padawan is alive. And I don't know if she thinks her Padawan killed Sol. I don't know if she thinks Chimera killed Sol. Or that Chimera was the one. What?
Vanessa's asking May about OSHA, isn't she?
Yeah, she asked her about OSHA, but she doesn't know that if OSHA killed Sol. So it still hangs up in the air. But I think Vanessa is smart enough to know that all those Jedi on Kofar, probably not Sol, most likely my Padawan. I think that's what she can figure out, even though that's also not confirmed in her mind. But she says he ends it off with the truth here. Amongst all the lies, besides the fact that Sol is flawed, she just says here, the only non-lie is that he justified every step with the love he had for OSHA, which is true. Every step of the way, I did this for you. I loved you. That was his whole prerogative as a father figure. Vanessa asked May's help to ever find her lost pupil before he turned evil. Wow. That's exciting. And like you said, are we going to see May put on some Jedi robes? There's a great character in the High Republic called Zine. And she's force sensitive, way too old to be a Jedi, but she's best girlfriends with the Jedi. But she does not put on the Jedi robe. She, uses 2 blasters, which is very cool.
Just
I wonder if
like your sensitivity for good aim.
Oh yeah, it does work like that. I guess she's very skilled, like very like acrobatic and very good with the gun or blaster.
Cool.
But she she uses like what is it called, electro rods, as well.
Yeah.
So she's very skilled. Are we going to see May be that, or is she going to put on the robes and use a lightsaber? We're clearly getting
give May OSHA's old things.
Honestly, yeah. Where's OSHA's old lightsaber? Like
They're tailored, they fit.
That'd be cool. Let me see OSHA's old lightsaber. That'd be a huge, great parallel.
But what if what if May kind of like taps into like the ability of like Force echoes and like maybe like she like senses little bits of OSHA, but she's like, who is this person?
I think we'll get that.
I see myself, but I didn't live this life.
That'd be so cool. I think we're gonna get that. Very much like forgotten echoes of the past that she thinks she lived, but because they are the same person, subconsciously, she's gonna feel these things. And what I'm excited for is that the Vernestra May dynamic and how that contrasts in the past to Vernestra Chimere. That's what season 2 is going to be about. Vernestra May, Chimere, Vernestra. Like both Vernestra, just like we have Soul and Jeki and Soul and Osha, we can get Vernestra and Chimere and Vernestra and May. But then the season ends with Osha and Chimere overlooking the horizon. They hold hands, Nathan. It's what?
Honeymoon.
Yeah, it's peak. It's beautiful. And, the director, Hannah Culpepper, said this could have been a kiss. That was discussed.
It was filmed.
But they toned it back, saying it was mostly about Osha's arc, her agency in this moment, and they wanted to tease it for the potential of what's to come. Oh my gosh. So it's such a beautiful, like, I guarantee you guys, I'll say it right now, 2 hours, 47 minutes in, clock it, in the trailer for Acolyte Season 2, we are getting a kissing scene between Osha and Chimere. Like every movie trailer of all time has a kissing scene. One scene will be Osha. Yes, every trailer ever.
Or what? The fucking 2000s back?
Well, every action franchise, not because the horror is different.
Maybe your Mission Impossible.
James Bond.
Okay.
90% of action, any MCU movie is like Peter and her, whatever her name is.
Zendaya?
Gamora. In Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, okay. I thought you had Parker.
Even in Spider-Man, right? It's like him about to kiss Lisa Allen or whatever her name is. Liz Allen. He's about to kiss Zendaya. It's like every comic book action adventure.
But isn't like a lead up cutaway type bait?
Oh, yes. I'll preface that. I'll be safe with that. Like Osha, Chimere, Osha and Chimere are doing that kind of stuff. Like my brother's making a smoothie, so it might be some noise. But yeah, so I'm like, they're going to be about to kiss or insinuation of a kiss. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. They're going to kiss. It's just how many times in season 2. Not that I'm, waiting. So yeah, and then it's a beautiful moment. Best finale ever. Vernestra talks to Yoda, and that's it.
Yoda? Is that
Yoda's here, guys?
Puppet?
It looks like it. I agree. It looks like it.
My other favorite tweet from the finale is like, "Coward, show if he looks like he's on ketamine." I died laughing. I would love, Evan. I know
that's great.
Not for everyone, but I would love if they have the Phantom Menace puppet.
Me too, honestly. That'd be pretty wacky.
I miss that puppet. It's a good one.
But yeah, no CGI, please. Go practical. Go Phantom Menace or TLJ.
I mean, yeah, they definitely are. Which is so funny in this age of like, I now know that like Lucasfilm decided to use fully CGI huts whenever they want to do it.
Huts?
Yeah,
Oh,
like
huts.
yeah.
Yeah. True.
I guess that's easier than fucking 9 puppeteers in the costume.
Exactly. So yeah, Yoda. Now my dad was worried. My dad was like, I don't want Yoda to be in this a lot because Yoda's too powerful, and how are they going to use him as a character? Is he going to be? My dad doesn't think he's going to be in it a lot.
Okay.
I don't think so either. I don't think Yoda's going to be in this a lot, but I think he'll have similar to how much Vernestra was in season 1, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see her on and off. We'll see Yoda on and off. He won't be in any of the battle scenes.
No.
Similar to High Republic, Yoda's hardly ever in a fight. He's in a fight in 2 books out of the whole High Republic so far.
Really cool.
And yeah, very cool. Very cool. If you want to see Yoda in a very cool fight, Midnight Horizon, High Republic book, he appears there, and Star Wars Cataclysm, he appears both in the 3rd act. So you got to read the whole book. And
does he pull the Attack the Clones dramatic shadow coming in every time?
No. But it is dramatic every time he comes in. It's really cool. And he's strong as ever. So, but I don't think you bring Yoda in there to fight. He's just so powerful to any character in the show, especially antagonist-wise, unless he's fighting Plagueis. That'd be cool. But anyways, it won't happen.
It's like, who's going to fight the 7-foot Snoke puppet?
But the question was, Leslie says in Phantom Menace, Yoda knows about the rule of 2. How? She knows.
She does. I love people are asking. Do you know the full they asked her, do you know the full through line of these story beats of how things connect A to B, even how they get Palpatine and everything? And she's like, I do. I know it. That's so cool.
And I always go back to what she said at the very beginning. Perry asked her, if you had carte blanche, how many seasons do you think the show can go? At least 3, she said. If she's lucky, 5. Nice. I need 20. This show needs to be the staple of Disney Plus forever and ever and ever and ever. They understand the audience. They understand the love of the show. I can talk about this for 5 hours. But yeah, I think Yoda is going to have a minimal screen presence. He's going to be more of a sensei type character. But yeah, that was a lot. But I think to cap things off, season 1 as a whole, I think for me, it's hard to rate critically, and I hate acting like this, critically. But because emotionally, this was the most I've ever been invested in a Disney Plus show. It grew. Miss Marvel was peak, but Loki season 1 was peak. Andor was one of my favorite shows ever. But Percy Jackson, fantastic. But emotionally deep diving to the thoughts and the processes of each character, I've never been so gratified. Andor was just a revelation, a great dramatic series. But to be honest, I'm more emotionally gravitated towards Osha, May, especially Chimere, more than Andor.
If I were to say what is the most well put together production, yeah, it probably is Andor on all fronts, because it's just it's so masterful how every aspect is holy shit. Even the way the story is structured and goes through, and it's 12 episodes.
12 episodes. Each character gets time to breathe. It's it's unquestionably Andor. Yeah.
But if I'm going off of what I am the most emotionally invested in, the thing that I'm most hyped about to tune in every week on, it's this. And it's I love The Mandalorian, but I'm on season 3 and I'm oh shit, here comes the mythosaur, and it doesn't
go anywhere. What's beautiful about this show, Leslie understands the symbols, the mythology that she's putting into these characters and this setting and these arcs that I feel other shows don't. Thank you. Oh, awesome, Jordan. Yeah, Andor is just I was talking about it with Jalen 3 hours ago before this podcast. We're Andor is just one of the best dramas, not just in Star Wars or Disney Plus, of all time for me. It's one of the best first seasons I've ever seen. It's just impeccably done, well done, and written. But investment-wise, if somebody said, "Hey, Evan, tomorrow there's a presentation about Andor season 2 or Acolyte season 2," there's no hesitation. I'm going to the Acolyte season 2 panel over Andor.
Yeah,
because there's just so much more potential. The series is just, I'm so invested in these characters, the light and the dark. And to be honest, when it comes to Star Wars, I'm more invested in the Force aspects. That's just who I am as a fan. And romance. And we're in for a lot of romance in Andor and Acolyte, but Acolyte in particular. Andor's romance we know is going to end tragically.
In the end of all things,
maybe.
Yeah. I mean, the end is like, is Cassian going to find his friends? Probably. They'll probably be all right.
I want Bix to stay alive.
Absolutely. I mean, hell, if you want to put Bix in something else, I'll watch Bix.
We'll watch a Bix show easily, 100%.
Adrian Arjona could carry.
Bix survives the events of Andor. Give her a show set post Return of the Jedi.
Pop her in an appearance in a Dr. Aphra series.
I would love that. Like a Bix post Return of the Jedi show, like an Andor show set post ROTJ in the unknown chaotic galaxy. Great. And not tied in with the Andor timeline. Do the not 6 years afterwards, just right after Return of the Jedi. And see what happens there with Bix and anything in between. But anyways, Acolyte, I'm just much more invested in all the characters and the mythology. It's just so interesting. In this season, while it is flawed, like visually sometimes, it's hard to pick apart this show. Like visually sometimes, I do agree it could need time to breathe. And Major Quinto, he's a very handsome man.
Go watch my YouTube short for episode 6.
I didn't know where you're going with that. Yeah. But yeah.
He's not. Go watch my video. No.
Go watch my OnlyFans.
I sweat a lot.
But yeah, Manny just brought a whole new level to this show. Amandla, fantastic. Playing 2 different characters who have such distinct physical traits and performances. Magic. Well done. I need to see Amandla in everything. Manny Jacinto is amazing.
ILM being able to integrate her in scenes twice, and it looks like Evan. I was looking at both of their faces when they were doing combat. I couldn't tell if anything was a digital dub. I really could not.
Yeah. Yeah. All props to Amandla's stunt doubles, who are very good this season. I like how much praise she's given them this season as well throughout every article. She's like, my stunt double, amazing, incredible. We need more, stunt recognition for the TV and the Oscars. But yeah, Amandla, Manny, Daphne Keene, Charlie Burnett, Rebecca played Vernestra, Lee Jung Jae, one of the best performances in all of Star Wars. It was so great.
It really was.
Yeah, exactly. It's unconnected based on characters, but thematically, it really is rich. It would be cool to see a post-sequel to those Unconnected Skywalker Saga. I agree. That would be
Rey movie. I don't know.
Because Rey movie is 15 years afterwards. Once they create that show, the Rey movie, it would establish a 15-year gap between Tross and the Rey movie. A 15-year gap of delicious, unknown, untouched, raw,
untamed.
Star Wars power.
And beyond that.
Something truly special. I would, a post-sequel show is also very riveting and exciting. But I think we have to wait till the Rey movie to finally get into like what could have happened during that time. So yeah, I think the cast in the show was great. Some of the dialogue was hit and miss, but like mostly hit. Like I was ever be like, well, that's weird.
That's cool.
Yeah, she got everyone she wanted. Everyone she wanted.
That'll be our new mascot.
Yes, please. How do you do that on the computer? I don't even know. It's supposed to be a phone thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just YouTube's built-in emojis. But I thought they were like yellow. I didn't know they were blue over here.
Yeah. What'd you do, Nathan?
What I had to.
But yeah, the cast.
I did what was best.
The cast is so perfect. The connections, the characters, the visuals. I think the visuals are really cool. Episode 5 was like one of my episode 5, 8. No problem, Jordan. Thank you so much for watching us. It's 3 hours. This is one of our longest streams all year. Our longest stream of the year so far, definitely. Because we're just rambling now. But what was I gonna say? But yeah, I'm just so freaking happy with the show, man. And I want to, I joked about it, but like I want to be serious about it. Like I want to rewatch some of these episodes, commentary wise, with you sometime this year for sure. Just like we did with the Bad Batch. We haven't done the Bad Batch finale rewatch.
We've not.
I want to do that as well because that was also insanely beautiful and tears.
Acolyte, Bad Batch, and Sky High.
Sky High for sure. So yeah, I really hope we get a season 2. There's so many possibilities. Play gifts for Nestra, Yoda. I'm probably forgetting stuff. So yeah, sounds great.
But yeah, man, that was fun. What a time! I actually spent a good amount of the season knowing everybody's names.
That was really cool.
Struggle for me usually.
So yeah, I had all these like articles for. Oh, sorry, what were you saying? Am I frozen or is Nathan frozen? Hello? Let me see here. Nathan's the one that's frozen. He'll come back in a second. I had all these articles that I had planned about like Leslie's talking about the show. Oh, here he comes.
Hey,
you're back. Cool. I was saying how I had all these articles about the show, but we can talk about that at another time. It'll be too long. But I retweeted a lot of it on my main account, outside of posting about Big Brother all the time. So yeah, she did some great interviews with Collider, the Inverse magazine, inverse.com, /film. She had some quotes basically talking about how Manny was usually the one inputting a lot of the intimate scenes, like the whole hand holding. Like they went back on the kiss, but then Manny's idea was Manny and Amanda said like we could do the hand touch over the lightsaber. Manny putting the thumb over her in episode 6 when he's like I've lost everything to Osha. It was just so great, and Manny's excited as much as the other people. Like they talk about the Oshimir fandom. It's like I've seen a lot of the fan art, the AO3 stuff, and if we get a season 2, I really want to dive into their intimacy and their dynamic. And I'm like, this is everything I want to hear. I want to see all that and more. And yeah, it's just there's a lot of potential with these two. Like I've never been so invested in a dynamic since Raylo, and yeah, hopefully I don't get burned.
Yeah, I have faith. Because like, what do they have to lose?
Exactly. You never know. So yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at HarrisEV9. Once again, I'm talking about a lot about Star Wars. I'm always pushing forward with the Renew the Acolyte. Leslie said, if you really want the show to really get a season 2, put the love out there on social media. Talk about what you love. Don't talk about what you hate. Constructive criticism is fine, obviously. But yeah, I really hope the show gets renewed. I'd be shocked if it doesn't, because I think this finale really left everything so open to so many cool possibilities. So yeah, I'm always tweeting about Star Wars, Marvel, and like we said, yeah, we want to do more commentaries about the Bad Batch, about Acolyte, and yeah, there'll be more Star Wars to come later this year for Hyperspace Hype. Skeleton Crew is later this year, and we'll be doing reviews for every episode of Skeleton Crew as well. Next week, we're doing a commentary on New Mutants, our last commentary for the Fox Marvel movies. Yesterday, we watched X-Men Dark Phoenix, otherwise known as just Dark Phoenix. We watched it and we ranked it. Did we decide if it's better than X3 The Last Stand? You have to wait to find out. Because we made a choice. So yeah, we had fun watching all those Fox Marvel movies. Next week is not only Deadpool and Wolverine, but it's also San Diego Comic-Con. This time next week, we will learn the next phase of what Marvel has to offer. So we'll be bringing back My Cup of Tea in the future to review our movies and go over some movie news.
Heck yeah, man. Thank you again, Jordan, for watching.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
You've been great. Thank you for being here. And yeah, if you want to follow me, I recommend @_TimeBlazer because I'm making a show called Time Blazer with co-star and creative consultant Evan Harris.
Hell yeah. And Time Blazer is definitely getting a season 2.
And 3. And if I have any say, which I do, it's my own willpower, I want to go all the way 6 seasons. And it is mapped out, it's planned.
I heard you were acquired by Neon. Is that true?
Neon would probably help me, right? They'd let me cook.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, that being said, if you guys enjoyed this, make sure you like button, subscribe, now ring the bell so you miss future coverage and all things Star Wars. And that being said, hope you have a great day. May the Force be with you always.